That will be at quarterback on Monday Night Football for the Broncos. But even if he is, that Broncos offense has not really looked much of a threatening variety. So Easton Stick will join us, go over that. And obviously his memories. It's Dakota Market Week. We'll get Easton's memories and some really fun games he had against South Dakota State, not just in the regular season, but also in the postseason during his career at NDSU. So we'll touch on that stuff with Easton at noon. Rob, how you doing?
Doing great, man. I'm loving life. It's Tuesday. Things are moving along. Went by and talked to Coach Richmond earlier and basketball staff, men's basketball staff. And, man, look, we're in the middle of football. We're coming up on Game 7, and we're already starting to talk basketball too. So it's been a fun journey, man. And as you know, this time of the year, everything just starts rolling and rolling. Basketball
sneaks up on you more than football does. At least with football, you've kind of got that countdown all summer long. With basketball, we're so into football season right now. The month of September flies by in the blink of an eye. And then you're into the second week of October, and you're like, oh, yeah, we're a month away from the first games for basketball. We got to really kick things into gear and get going. So very much looking forward to both of those teams this year and seeing what the men and the women can do. And the wrestling team as well. NDSU Wrestling, their practices start this week. So they're getting going for another season in the Big 12 for NDSU Wrestling. I know yesterday we had the coaches' press conference. Matt Entz will play a couple of sound bites from that here in just a little bit. Also, you had the coaches' show last night, brought to you by Nodak Insurance Company, each Monday night, 6:30 to 8, with Rob Hipp and the coach, Matt Entz. Your takeaways from what Coach had to say last night.
Coach obviously acknowledged South Dakota State as a great team. In fact, he said it's the best team in the FCS. And
said it at the press conference, too.
Yeah, said it in the press conference as well. And so there's a lot of respect for that program. He just talked about the impact that they're going to have, the rushing game, what they're going to have to do to protect on that. And look, man, this is the rivalry. It's rivalry week. I can finally say that word correctly, Andy. So it's a big opportunity for the Bison. I'm looking for them to turn things around, but it's kind of that same broken record. And I know we say it, but these guys have just got to get it out of. They got to get out of their own way, and that's what Coach constantly talks about. We talked about the fumbles that we've seen. Four fumbles, lost 3 of those last week. But he brought up, as they looked at that on tape, it's mainly their guys. It's not like they're just dropping them. It's when they're falling to the ground and they're getting poked out. So scout
from
team
behind,
from behind. So scout team has been working with them just to hold on to those footballs a little bit harder. Don't try to stretch out and extend for that extra yard. And so I think we're going to see a lot of that cleaned up. We saw penalties cleaned up as well. So it was great to catch up with Coach, just kind of get his thoughts and continue to look forward and looking ahead to this big weekend.
And obviously we got some thoughts from the press conference, too, which you can hear on Bison 1660 every Monday of game week at 2 o'clock, thanks to Bonanza Egg. And there were some thoughts from the press conference from the head coach. We'll get to those in just a second. Before we do, I can't let the A topic of the show go any further, Rob. Who is producing today? Because that's not Micah.
I don't know. It looks like an 18-year-old kid in here. I don't know who it is.
He's got his own camera, so I hope on the stream on our Facebook page, Bison 1660, we can see it on the camera when he talks here in a bit. He walks in and I go, you look very weird today because you shaved. And all I've ever seen with you is a beard and a mustache that doesn't really connect. But today, clean shaven, and you look like you're in high school, dude.
I dropped a lot of age.
Yes.
I dropped a lot of age.
Quickly.
I could maybe pass for late 20s. Maybe.
Late 20s?
With the beard.
Oh, with the
beard. I could pass for late 20s.
You could pass for teens right now.
But right now, I think I could go back to high school right now.
Absolutely.
I could walk into Davies High School and be like, oh, hey, here's a student. He's going to social studies.
You could sit down in a math class and be like, oh, it's just a new student.
Yeah.
You could try to relearn. You could improve your grades probably from high school.
Probably.
There you go.
Maybe give some more effort.
Actually, if I went back to high school, the grades would be worse. I've forgotten everything from math. Absolutely everything. It's quick. It's strange how quickly you lose that stuff. Why the shave? You've told me this. We'll just get it on record for our listeners.
It's just a clean record, clean shave. I do it the same week that we play SDSU every single time, as long as I have been able to grow facial hair. I have done clean shaven SDSU week prior to the game.
The Monday night of game week at the same time? Because you didn't do it on Sunday.
Didn't do it on Sunday. I find a time during the week. It's never the same day, but has to be before the game.
Why did this start? What triggered this to start?
Yes.
Probably because it didn't look good like a while back. It just looked scraggly and probably not good facial hair.
So it just was a coincidence that was during SDSU week.
Yeah.
And
then we probably, the Bison probably defeated SDSU that week. I'm like, all right, let's just shave for SDSU week.
And you've been doing it every year since?
Yep.
Playoff games too? Weeks they play in the playoffs or just marker week?
Marker week.
Just marker week. Okay, fair enough. So you did it last year. This is clearly a superstition at this point.
Yep, it is.
It's grown into that crazy fan thing. We all have them. Not going to judge you for it. There's times I will sit in a certain seat wearing a certain shirt just to think that that's going to help my team win. And I know it doesn't, but it helps me feel better. It makes me feel like I'm part of the team. So I get what the superstition is here. But you did it last year. Clearly didn't work. Did it the year before.
Maybe it's on me.
Spring season, and it didn't work in the spring of 2020 season. Didn't work. They lost the game, so.
Maybe this is the year.
Maybe you should have kept the beard. Maybe you should have done the opposite. Maybe you should have just not shaved for an entire month leading up to the game.
I've already done that, though.
But did it work?
But maybe it's like the clean slate. Like NDSU didn't have their best game against Indiana State, so we're wiping it clean. This is a new week, and we're going to have our best week yet of the season right here against SDSU.
Rob, I think we should join them. Want to shave off
I'm
everything?
not shaving, man. Dude, when I shave...
You've got a beard. I want to see you without the beard.
No, man. When I shave, I'll literally... You walk the grocery store aisles in the meat section and see the butterball turkeys. That's what I look like when I shave. That's not happening. That is one bet that I will not take, man. It's the only bet I will not take.
And for me, it's just... I used to shave, but I always, I don't know, razor burn was always a thing. And I tried different shaving gels. I tried different aftershaves and stuff, and it never did the trick. I always get the big red bumps, and I felt it was scratchy and itchy, and for days and days at a time, it just wasn't worth it. So I don't really shave all the way down. I just keep it trimmed up, basically.
I did. In high school, I promised, back when I was calling high school baseball years ago, I promised our kids, I said, look, when the playoffs started, I said, I will not shave or get a haircut throughout the playoffs. They go all the way to the state championship. And by the time you get there, that's, you're a month and a half, 2 months in. By the time they got there, man, my beard has never been that long, and my hair had never been that long since high school.
They'll do that here with the mustaches, especially on defense. They'll grow mustaches during playoffs, so.
If anybody remembers Easton Stick's mustache when he was growing that out freshman year, ooh, man,
very dirty stash.
Yeah, he had the dirty stash.
Yeah, sure. We should ask him about that.
Tangway maybe had the best one that year.
Yeah,
there's
always been some good ones. I think Braden Thomas had a really good one last year too. So that will happen. But I was taken back a bit today when I saw the clean shaved high school version of Micah Bindi.
You probably thought that it was like, we hired someone new, maybe.
Yeah, I didn't remember hiring a new part-time person, or that Micah had a twin that kind of looks like him. You really don't look like Micah today. So, if you're watching on our Facebook page via the Horse Cam, Horse Forming with Passion, online at horse.com, you can see Micah Bindi because the camera will switch to him every once in a while, and yeah, it's different. It's a different look. So it's going to take an adjustment period for us, but we're going to power through it on the show today. Looking forward to it. We want you to be a part of the show. Text us, call us, 701-476-1660. Do you have any superstitions? What's your superstition? Whether it be for the Bison, if you do it every week, if you do it just for SDSU week, which, frankly, if you think this shaving thing works, you should do it every single week, personally, in my opinion. But do you have any superstitions for NDSU, for your favorite football team, be it NFL, basketball team, whatever it is? Do you have a sports superstition? We want to know your sports superstitions today on the show. Do you have any?
If things don't work with your superstition, if it doesn't work, does that mean the superstition is no longer valid? Because when I came here, I had a superstition. I went out and bought some NDSU socks. I'm always a big sock guy on game day. I usually wear different socks. But I said, I'm going to buy some Bison socks. So I bought some. Every game I wore them, we won. I washed them, though. I'm not big into like the dirty superstition of never wash clothes. I do wash them. But I wore them at the Arizona game. Played tough, lost that game, but I continued to wear them. So, because of that loss, does that negate the superstition? Do you have to find a new superstition?
That's always been the sticking point for me. When you do a superstition, once you lose, that breaks the streak. You no longer have to do that superstition. Or is it like, no, you do this all year because it's about the whole year, and as long as they win the title, then your superstition's good?
I think it should be if it has a winning record. As long as you have that winning record with that superstition, then it's successful.
But what if it breaks?
It's just over 500, though. I don't know.
What if it breaks, though? Then all of that effort that you put into it is gone, and you've got to think of something else.
New traditions.
Well, then I just quickly pick something up. Like, this time I had a pizza. I got to have pizza every time. I can quickly come up with a new superstition. That's not really difficult for me. Just come up with a different shirt to wear or a different spot to sit. So, the Vikings game a couple of weeks ago when they were facing Detroit, I was in a bar restaurant watching the game in town here with some friends, and then I had to leave to go golfing, and I was in my car when they threw the touchdown that was the game winner and finally took the lead in that game. So now it's just, okay, I got to listen to it in the car. I can't watch it at that. I'll never go back to that restaurant ever again to watch a Vikings game because they were losing to the Lions. So Can't do it.
And so now, will you get into your car every time now?
If it's a close game, yeah, I will jump into that car quicker than you've ever seen someone jump into their car, and I'll start driving with no end destination. Just drive around.
So nearly every single game this year for the Vikings,
if needed, if it's a close game like that. Yeah, I did last week.
So we'll know what'll happen if we see Andy driving around on game day when the Vikings are down. All right, he's waiting for that touchdown pass.
Yeah. So that's just, it worked 1 week, and I'm very superstitious about that.
we have the fried pickles for the Bison 1660 crew.
That's absolutely a superstition. Fried pickles every time, and it's definitely got a winning record. There's a lot of people of Bison football that think they're the good luck charm, or whatever they do is the good luck charm. Like there's hundreds and hundreds of thousands of them, I guarantee you, because everyone thinks what they do is the thing. Or like, oh, I've came to NDSU and they never lost. They won the championship every time I've been here. But it's like, well, yeah, when all they do is win championships, a lot of people probably have superstitions about NDSU. So send them to us. Text them to us. Email them to us. studio@bison1660.com is the email, the Rick Electric email inbox. Or you can also text us with that 701-476-1660 or call us on the Epic Companies hotline. You can also leave your comment there on Facebook on the stream, on the live stream of our shows, which you can find each and every day on our Facebook page, Bison 1660. Matt Entz, head coach, was at the press conference yesterday. You can listen to those press conferences every Monday of game week at 2 o'clock here on Bison 1660. Had some specific things to say. First off, on an injury front, it sounds like Kobe Johnson probably could have gone if it was one of those playoff games, got to have it kind of games. Wanted to give him a little bit of time off with that ankle sprain that he had in the game against Youngstown State, so they sat him out, decided they could do that with the running back depth that they have, and it's probably the right decision. So Kobe, I don't think that's a long injury. Maybe he's questionable this week, but I would assume Kobe will be able to give it to go at home, or at least be someone that has a chance to play on Saturday against the Jacks. Jalen Sundell was having a meeting up with a doctor, I believe, after the press conference yesterday, so no real update on him, but Coach did go as far to say at least he doesn't believe that is a long-term injury or something that's going to keep Jalen out for months or months.
Yeah, it's tough to hear that too, because you talk about guys like Sundell, and that's kind of been what I've seen this season. Guys that had injuries in the previous years have some of those injuries. It's just been bad luck in injuries, and you don't want to see that, especially with guys going forward like Tamarick Williams. We don't need those guys to get re-injured. None of these guys, and so I did like hearing though that it's just something that sounds like it's short term. Got to have a veteran like Sundell back in there.
Nice thing was Brandon Westbrook played really well in his place against Indiana State. I thought he had a really good game. I don't believe he got called for any penalties. You didn't hear his name a whole lot. There had been a couple of plays where there was some interior pressure where, I don't know if it was Westberg or if it was somebody else, but it seemed like maybe there was a little cross-up on some communication that allowed to a sack of Cam or something like that. But overall, I thought he played extremely well, and he's got starting experience against some really good players. So if he has to play this week against SDSU, I'm not overly concerned. It's a really good defensive front, but I think Brandon Westbrook can hold his own just fine on the interior of the offensive line for NDSU. And then also a couple other things from the head coach. First off, I think let's just start with the vegetables a little bit. We're frustrated as a fan base. I think it's fair to say the fan base overall has some frustrations with how some of these games have gone, even though you're 5-1, and that is the ultimate goal, is winning games, right? And you're in a good spot there, and you're undefeated in the Valley and against the FCS. But there's some frustrations, and Coach Entz was asked about that too, because he's had some frustrations with how this season has gone, and I think the entire team has. And so his thoughts on just the team's playing and some of those frustrations they're dealing with.
5-1. You have to like that. We're finding ways to win. Now, where I get frustrated, and again, I don't mean to come across as frustrated. I just think there's more. And maybe that's me being a stick in the mud. I am 50 now, so I guess I am considered old. But maybe I think they're better than what I've seen on Saturday. So if me having elevated frustration comes across as being frustrated, then I'm fine with that. They know my expectations. I talk to every single one. I love every single one of our kids. You can tell by the crack in my voice.
And you can tell there at the end. Got a little emotional too. He's frustrated. Everybody's a little frustrated. You're not frustrated with the result, because at the end of the day, the results are W's, and that's the right thing. But I think there are some frustrations that maybe things that they thought were going to be fixed or thought were going to be slightly better. I don't even know if I want to say fixed, but slightly better. Just haven't maybe quite gotten there. I think some of the players are frustrated too, because they want to be better. They want to shut out every opponent. They don't want games to be that close in the fourth quarter. They want to feel like they're playing their best, and I think sometimes they're just not maybe quite feeling that way as well.
Yeah, I think. Look, man, when you're frustrated, it just means you care, that you're passionate. If you're making mistakes and you're not frustrated, there's a big problem right there. But if you're frustrated, it shows your heart. It shows, look, man, we care. We got to find a way to turn some things around and to clean some things up. I was talking to Coach in the Coach's Show about that last night, Andy, and I said, my 11-month-old daughter, Braylon, I get frustrated with her sometimes. Not because I'm upset at her. I get frustrated because then I start feeling like maybe I did something wrong as a parent to make her cry. It's because I care, because I love my daughter. I think it's the same with the coach and the staff. And look, man, frustration is not a bad thing. When it is a bad thing is when you're not frustrated and you're just kind of, we'll just go with the flow. That's not the way it is around here.
Yep. So, and they're, again, you're getting the results you want, you're getting the wins, but you can be better in them, and that's something they're trying to work on. And then also not trying to be too negative. That's the other side of it is you're frustrated, but you can't necessarily, not that you can't be negative around, young, 18 to 23-year-olds on this team. Not that you can't be frustrated around them, because you can, and you can expect better from them, and you can have high expectations, and we do around here. But also trying not to be too negative around the team. I know Coach Entz also had a comment on that, about trying not to be too negative on this team and show that too much when he's talking to them.
I start every meeting with the positives, because in this world, it's what are the first things we talk about? And I'm not picking on you guys, but what do we want? We talk about missed tackles, we talk about penalties, we talk about turnovers. We don't talk about the first 3 drives of the game were 3 and outs. We gave the offense the ball inside the 50 twice. We didn't talk about 70% completion for the last 2 weeks. We didn't talk about a huge play, sudden change. Will Mostert blocks a field goal. That's a big-time play right there. That was a big-time step up by the defense. There are positive things. We just haven't played consistent. There's moments where I think we've played really well, and there's moments where we have not played very well, or I think we're better than what I'm seeing on the field. And what I'm telling you guys, I've told our football team.
Thoughts on what Coach had to say?
Yeah, 100%. And you get so wrapped up sometimes in the turnovers, like he said. There's a lot of great things that are happening with this football team. We mentioned earlier about the offensive line, and there's 211 combined career games among 5 starters on that line. There's things that we overlook about how good this team is, because when those bad things happen, it always seems like the bad just overshadows the good, and we got to focus on those good things. Will Mostert, huge play there. Phil and I, we didn't talk about it in
to
postgame.
start the game too.
Had the sack, but then you talk about going down in the third quarter. That was a 4-point advantage for the Bison. That could have easily been a 1-point advantage or less, and that happened after a muffed punt. Will Mostert comes up huge. That stops the momentum. My opinion, that was the big momentum shift of that ball game that the Bison needed to secure that victory.
And I talked about sudden changes with David Braun in the pregame, how they try and work on those things and make sure that when you're back on the field, you slow that momentum right down, and it's exactly what they did. That was a huge block. And again, we didn't focus on this enough, I don't think. You look at the final score and you look at the flow of the game, and yeah, it wasn't pretty. I'm not trying to sugarcoat it. You need to be better in certain situations, but over 200 yards passing, over 300 yards rushing, 500 combined yards in the game. Tamarick Williams having one of those breakout performances. Zach Mathis, career high in receptions and yards in a game for him. Those are big-time things that you wanted to see, improve passing game. Well, you just saw the improved passing game. Why can't we be more excited about some of that stuff?
Dom Ganella, almost 11 yards a carry to lead all rushers, and unfortunately, the fumble that was poked away from him, that kind of negates that, when you look at it. But
which I get.
I understand that too, but look, man, there's so much potential. I don't want to say potential. I got to back up from that word. There's so much capability with these guys. Coach doesn't like the word potential. I don't like the word potential. There's a lot of capability. They just haven't played to their capability yet.
Yeah, and they will. And that's why you have another chance here this week against SDSU. Another thing that's really cool about this team and this program and NDSU athletics overall is that they've got a pretty cool event happening on Friday, a little ribbon cutting of the new indoor performance, Nodak football performance complex for NDSU, and that's going to be on Friday, and Coach Entz had some thoughts on what that indoor is going to mean for this program.
There are hundreds of people that are connected to that, to the construction, the fundraising, the planning of that facility. I remember in 2014, it was exciting to get the bubble, and this facility, the bubble served its purpose and was unbelievable for 8-9 years, and believe me, we used the heck out of it. I think every sport did, but this is going to be on a whole different level when you compare it to the bubble. there's been some unbelievable, generous people that are very well connected, not only to football, but to athletics, that have allowed us to have the finances to build this. And a lot of people right here in the city of Fargo, Moorhead area, people in the state of North Dakota, but alumni all over the country.
Yeah, it's a great facility, the No Deck Insurance Football Performance Complex. Ribbon cutting on Friday, get a chance to see that building and see where they're going to be practicing. And honestly, it's perfect timing because you get into the end of October, early November, you never know when that weather's going to turn, even if it's only for a week. You might have a week where you get snow and then a week where it's in the 50s or 60s and it melts. But you're right around the corner from some not so great weather around here, so it's great to get that indoor up and running. And then he also had some thoughts on Cam Miller's play. This is one of those things we talk about. Speak on the positives so far. One of those positives from last game, Cam Miller over 200 yards, and again, no turnovers in terms of the passing game. So been great to see Cam Miller's play, and Coach Entz had some thoughts on Cam.
Saturday, I thought he was unbelievably efficient. And if you go back and watch the film, and I know, Ross, you have, there's probably 3 or 4 drops in there where all of a sudden this young man, he was targeting it really well. Now, Cam's very detail-oriented and very specific. I'm sure he'd sit here and tell you the ball was behind the receiver, but there was 2 or 3 balls that could have been dropped. I mean, you could be talking about 24 for 27, 25 for 27. That's 2 weeks in a row now that our quarterback's been 70%, 2 weeks in a row that we've thrown to 8 different people. And so he's utilizing his tools. He's spreading the ball out all over the field. I'm excited about where we're at. There's screen game, there's overs, there's verticals, there's check down passes. He's making good decisions right now.
Yeah, 8 different receivers with a catch. Cam Miller, 77.8% completion percentage, 210 yards and a touchdown pass. And that touchdown pass was a very critical one, very late in the game where that kind of puts the game away. And, you never know what happens after every play or how that one play affects a game. But Indiana State goes down and scores after that. That touchdown ends up being basically your game winner there to Zach Mathis.
Yeah, when you look at 21 and 27 passing, Coach said there was a few drops in there too, so that number could be even more. So his best game this season so far, 210 yards, first time he got over 200 yards this season. I mean, you even go back to games, even in the loss at Arizona, 10 of 12 passing in that ball game. Cam Miller is a very efficient quarterback, and I've said it and I'll keep talking about he knows when to make plays, knows when to hold on to the ball, knows when to get rid of it, knows when to throw it away. This is a young man that every game consistently finds ways to get better and better, and that has been a really good highlight of this season, watching him progress.
Do we need to be better in the passing game? Yeah, and I'm sure they'll get better in the passing game. That's why it's October 11th right now, and not December 11th. If it was December 11th, then we're like, oh man, I don't know if we can really trust the passing game. I'd probably be more worried about it. But it's October 11th, and they played in early October this last weekend. They'll get better by the end of this month, and I like the progress I've seen in a week-to-week just snippet. If you take it week by week, from week 1 to week 2 to Arizona week, and you get all the way to this last weekend against Indiana State, I like the progression I've started to see in that passing game, and hopefully it keeps on moving forward. And unfortunately, we've had some guys in and out. Phoenix Sproul's in and out. Now Noah Gindorf is out, so there's some adjustments you have to do in the passing game too. I think he's done a decent job making those adjustments, and good to see him efficient, well over 70% and over 200 yards in the game. So some thoughts from the coach on our game week press conference that was yesterday. You can hear that every Tuesday right here on Bison 1660. Take a break. We'll come back. Missouri Valley Mix. Time talk with Tom Neiman, SDSU, and Wyatt Wheeler on what's wrong with the Bears when we come back here on The Insiders.
Your home for the Thundering Herd.
Hey, you got any left-handed football?
Bison 1660.
We take great pride in really doing all the research and the work behind the scenes to make sure that our products just work.
We have our own staff member that helps pick the hybrids and the varieties that work in our area. It's meant for you, not for somebody 200 miles away.
We test our seed locally. We produce our seed locally, so we get to see our production fields, where they need to be, and if they work there.
Need seed, think Proseed. Proseed.net, great seed at a reasonable price.
Did you know hyperbaric oxygen can decrease inflammation and speed up your healing process dramatically? I'm Menley with Fargo's first hyperbaric oxygen center, Healing with Hyperbarics, conveniently located off 45th Street. We are celebrating 4 years in Fargo, and as the experts in treating concussions, brain injuries, sports injuries, and post-COVID symptoms, we welcome you to find out how we can help you heal. We have an FDA-approved device to diagnose concussions and can treat the same day to get you back to feeling better faster. Find out how we can help you at healingwithhyperbarics.com.
The 2022-23 NDSU basketball and wrestling seasons are fast approaching, and there's never been a better time to reserve season tickets so you don't have to miss any of the action. Basketball season tickets start as low as $100, and wrestling season tickets are only $75. All new season tickets are on sale now. To reserve your season ticket, visit gobison.com/tickets or call the ticket office during the week at 701-231-6378.
NHL is back with a doubleheader tonight to kick off the season stateside. Watch at Twin Peaks and break the ice with shareable bites for the whole team. Kick off the night early with happy hour. Whatever your preference, they have everything from tequila cocktails and an extensive bourbon category to top shelf spirits and cocktails served over ice balls. Local craft beers and handcrafted whiskey cocktails round out an adventurous drink menu second to none. And don't forget about their 29-degree man-sized drafts. Twin Peaks eats, drinks, scenic views.
Just as the Bison are champions on the field, Todd Cattermas with Beyond Realty is a champion in real estate. When it comes to buying or selling a home, Todd knows the market and will guide you through the entire process. Choose someone you can trust. Call Todd Cattermas with Beyond Realty today at 701-371-4234 or visit him at Beyond Realty, 4832 Amber Valley Parkway in Fargo. Todd is a proud partner and the preferred realtor of NDSU Athletics. Todd Cattermas with Beyond Realty. Moving the herd, one home at a time.
No one wants to think about it, but the cooler weather and cold morning starts are right around the corner. Get your vehicle ready at one of the 3 locally owned Jiffy Lubes of Fargo. Oil changes are the #1 maintenance item that's neglected. At Jiffy Lube of Fargo, it's easy. No appointment needed. Just drive up and drive in for your signature service oil change and a free charging system check to ensure your vehicle will be ready when you are. Jiffy Lube of Fargo, proudly serving the metro area for over 40 years, where you can do more in a jiffy.
Hail to Bison, right here, your home for NDSU sports. This is Bison 1660.
Our show today brought to you in part by The Spirit Shop. Need to stock up for all your favorites for watching football? The Spirit Shop's got you covered. Great selection of beer, wine, and spirits at the best prices, plus great weekly specials at The Spirit Shop, located off 13th Avenue, right behind Shields Home and Hardware. Not too far from our studio either. Great spot for stocking up on all your favorites for watching football, for Bison game days, for watching those 4-1 Minnesota Vikings. Love it. And for all football, and especially this time of year, great spot to go out and get your favorites over at the Spirit Shop. 11:30 on a Tuesday means it's time for us to run it back and go back on the Missouri Valley Mix.
The Missouri Valley Mix. The South Dakota State Jackrabbits.
It's marker week. It's the big one, folks. Number 1 versus number 2 inside the Fargo Dome. First time the Fargo Dome's had a 1 versus 2 matchup. It's 2:30 kickoff inside the Dome. And Tom Neiman, Midco Sports, nice enough to join us right now, TV voice for a lot of those SDSU games. Tom, this week, man, this is the week, right?
Yeah, I can't wait to get up there on Saturday, and I did not even realize that it would be the first 1 versus 2, but yeah, you get the 2 best FCS teams in the country. People around here think anyway. So, man, it's going to be good. And just going by past history, you know it's going to be good, just all the close games they've had really in the last 6 or 7 games in this marker matchup.
Give us an update on how SDSU's offense is. I think early on there were some hiccups with it. Obviously, you lost Kraft. We'll touch on him in just a second. But you had some hiccups with that offense, learning a not new scheme, but new guy calling the plays. And now it seems like the last couple of weeks, that offense has really been clicking. Is that how you kind of view it as well?
Well, I think so. They're still not 100% clicking, but they've got the run game going. I think we talked about that a couple of weeks ago, where they just needed to concentrate on the run and getting Isaiah Davis going, and then he had 199 against Western Illinois and had another big game against South Dakota last week. So they got that shored up. They're kind of still looking for a second running back to come in behind Davis, but Davis has been healthy, for one thing, and he's been fantastic in the last 2 games. So they've got that part going. The passing game has been a little bit hit and miss still. I mean, Gronowski's missed a few long balls, and he really clicked in that win at Missouri State, but since then there's been a couple of games where there's still some questions about the passing game and getting Kraft back. Will that help, or will it just throw another wrench in there? But the running game for sure is clicking, and the passing game is coming, but it's not quite there yet.
Yeah, Tucker Kraft, I believe he posted on Twitter yesterday something to the effect of, see you real soon, Jackrabbit Nation. It's marker week or something like that. Playing the game we all play on social media, right? And I'm sure I think Coach Stiegelmeier is having some sort of media availability today as well for like their game week stuff, and maybe it's probably going to be more like a day to day. I don't know if he's going to play or whatnot, but do you expect Tucker Kraft back in this one?
No, I don't.
Okay.
No, Stig's doing his Zoom right now, and I'm sure Koltek and all those guys are asking all the right questions about that. But Kraft was still in a boot on Saturday. He wants to talk about coming back for this weekend. I really, really do not think it's possible. He may be the week after this at North Dakota, but I really don't expect to see him out there against the Bison this weekend. But he will be back at some point, but I really don't see it coming up on Saturday.
Hey, Tom, good to chat with you. Rob Hipp here, man. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Rob.
Coach was talking yesterday in the press conference just over the last 9-10 years, just the philosophy of SDSU has kind of changed a bit. You're seeing more in the gun with the quarterbacks. Don't see as much under center anymore. A lot more quarterback runs out there, more athletic on the perimeter. Great job recruiting. Can you kind of talk a little bit about that and just how that's changed over the last 9-10 years?
Well, I always go back to they followed the NDSU model. They figured out that you've got to be nasty on the defensive and the offensive lines, and it took them a while to catch up in that. But NDSU for years had always rotated at least 8 guys on the defensive line, and SDSU is now to that point where they can do that with 8 or 9 guys, and that was following really the Bison model on that. And then the same thing offensively, just you get really good offensive linemen, you concentrate on kind of a power run game. Nobody runs at power like the Bison, but that's kind of what SDSU modeled it on, I think, was being able to run the ball, be really good up front defensively, and I think that's really what I think it goes back to in the last 10 years, where SDSU has kind of gotten up to that every year in the FCS semifinals kind of level.
Obviously, these two teams know each other extremely well, Tom, and you can't really hide much from the other. There's always a couple of wrinkles thrown in, though. I want to know, how do you think SDSU goes about trying to slow down Hunter Lipke and Tamarick Williams if they're both on the field and they're both basically doing what they've been doing these last couple of weeks, especially Tamarick last week with those 3 rushing touchdowns?
Yeah, he is a beast, and I mean there are not 2 running backs like that anywhere in the FCS for sure. And it was odd last week against South Dakota. Travis Tice is he's not a big power running back, but he's kind of a power guy, about 5'10", and they went right down the field with a run game. South Dakota did, and then somehow SDSU, after that first drive, kind of turned it off, and I don't know exactly what they did, but, you figure some things out after the first couple of drives. But, again, when NDSU is running it like that with those 2 big guys, you're going to give up yardage. You just can't give up big chunks of yardage, but NDSU just does that to you where they pound it, and that is the number one challenge, obviously, for the Jackrabbit defense this weekend.
Yeah, give me a stat. Give me something that you think maybe is an underlying stat that could play a factor in who ends up winning or losing this game. I think we know turnovers is always a key stat with these 2 teams, but is there an underlying stat in there somewhere that you think is kind of sneaky?
I was going to say turnovers.
See, you took the obvious one away from you.
That's a big deal. But rushing yards, just put it down at that. I mean, last year in that game in Brookings, the stats were almost dead even. If you go look at rushing and plays run and everything else, and it ended up, reflecting that in the final score, an 8-point margin. But I think if you figure out who runs the ball for more yardage in this game on Saturday, I would put money on that they would win it.
I saw Isaiah Davis firsthand a few years ago when I was broadcasting for Sam Houston. Just a dynamic runner. He's powerful, picking up his 100-yard plus again for the 10th time in his career just last week. How does NDSU stop him?
Good question. Don't let him get going right away. I mean, he hits the line of scrimmage and he just blows up from there. And he's really gotten, we touched on this a little bit, but he's had some shoulder problems in the last year and a half, but they've got some special padding for him, and he's getting healthier. And just the last 2 games, it's been a night and day difference from even the beginning of the season this year. How quick he's been. He made a move against South Dakota where he was going to the outside, just planted his left foot, made a nice little cut. So he's kind of developing some more of those moves instead of being just the power run over you kind of guy. But you go back and look at the run and the touchdown run in the first half against South Dakota when he went, I don't know what it was, 45 yards, but literally there were 8 tacklers that missed him, and he made miss. So I don't know. That's just the thing. Don't let him get going. Both defensive lines are really good. Get to him before he gets to the line and gets that motion and gets 5 or 6 yards every time.
In your opinion, is this game kind of decide the Valley too? I know these are 2 undefeated teams in the Valley. Do you think it decides it by the end of the season?
I think it does, really. I mean, South Dakota State doesn't play Southern Illinois. I really think it does. I don't see South Dakota State after this. I mean, they got to go to North Dakota, and you can't take anything for granted really anywhere. But Jack's got to go to UNI, but I don't know if that's as tough a match as it has been, but anything can happen. But, yeah, I think the winner of this one is in the Valley driver's seat all the way to the end.
Okay. Tom, appreciate it. Thanks for your insight. Looking forward to seeing you and the whole crew up here on Saturday.
Thanks, guys. See you then.
There he goes. Tom Neiman, nice enough to give us some time.
The Missouri State Bears.
And then we switch topics to a team that has gone the opposite direction as SDSU, and that is the Missouri State Bears. Wyatt Wheeler, Springfield News leader, nice enough to give us some time. Wyatt, I'll open it up this way. Instead of talking about the Bears, I wanted to focus somewhere else. Art Haynes, longtime play-by-play voice for Missouri State. Do you have any update? I know he's been dealing with some health concerns.
Yeah, I mean, the West Nile just hasn't that's just going to be something he's going to have to spend months recovering from. Hoping to move him from Kansas University Medical Center in Kansas City to Lincoln, Nebraska for a rehab hospital. Try to get him his legs and movement in his arms back. But it's been a pretty scary time. But a lot of people stepping up and being really generous. The GoFundMe account, if you look up Art Haynes. There's lots of money going towards him and his family to try to get him back to the Art we love. And thanks for mentioning him, and just hoping for the best there.
Yeah, absolutely, and appreciate the updates you're giving everybody on social media too. I know it's been a scary thing down there. We're absolutely wishing the absolute best. Good thoughts and prayers with Art Haynes and the entire family down there for you guys. On the other side, the Bears on the field have also kind of gone the opposite direction we thought they were going to be. This is a team that had postseason expectations, Wyatt. We thought they'd be playing in December and possibly even have an outside shot at getting a game in January. But instead, we're here in the middle of October and saying that the season is just about done. What has gone wrong with the Bears?
Yeah, pretty much everything we thought going into the year. When you say, hey, here's your biggest questions on where this team could go wrong, and they've gone wrong. The offensive line was a big question going into the year. It wasn't very good last year. You returned starters from that unit. You thought, hey, maybe they could take a step forward. You didn't see this amount of regression coming, but I don't know if it's just the league figuring things out on how to attack the Bears. But it's been pretty overwhelming on that offensive line, so where where you see South Dakota State taking advantage there and being able to beat them. You know a road trip to North Dakota is going to be tough. Offensive line played okay there, but then you have all these injuries along the defensive line, which was another big question going into the year because you lose an NFL player on the defensive line. You have 3 to 4 guys that were that are in that rotation that sit out of that North Dakota game, and you get the results you get. Now, this past week, the offensive line takes another huge step back, and they're just not getting stops defensively. They're not getting pass rush. They can't do anything on offense because the line's been that bad. So we knew this stretch of games would be tough. Nobody expected to beat Arkansas. And now you give them the fight you had, and you're just like, okay, this is something that could be cool. Well, it could be a fun season for them. You can forgive a loss to the Jacks because that's a national championship contender. But then the performances these last 2 weeks, North Dakota and SIU, just like, okay, this team probably not going to make the playoffs, and just some steps back, and need to figure out how to address that, trying to fix it towards the future.
Hey, Wyatt, Rob Hipp here. Thanks for being on with us. Those 5 games coming up, I mean, critical. You've got to basically win all 5 of those games. The bye week coming, I would assume this is if you had to have a bye week, this has got to be the point that you've got to have it to kind of regroup and get refocused. Just your thoughts on that, because you're facing teams that, look, early on in the season, you'd think, okay, Youngstown State, that may be a gimme, and Indiana State may be a gimme, but those 2 teams have shown a little bit of life here.
Yeah, the Bears lost to Youngstown State last year. So, I mean, McLaughlin just went off on them, and nothing has shown that the Bears can stop the run in recent weeks. So, I mean, that's a game that you're concerned about again. And the state score was this past week, sitting in the press box just wondering what what in the world was going on in Terre Haute. But no, the bye week comes at a great time. I mean, it's just kind of been doom and gloom around here. Probably good for those guys to get away from the game for a little bit. But it's you look at a trip to Northern Iowa. You guys kind of mentioned it that last segment. It's not the Panthers team we thought we would get, but any team can go into Northern Iowa and lose. And then these other games, South Dakota is going to be desperate. They knew they were going to have a tough start to the schedule. Western Illinois sucks, but it's a good time for that. But they need to regroup, and they're probably going to need a lot of help. And to even get in the postseason if they win out, even though it'd be tough to tell them no if they're rolling and looking at how they should.
That was my next question. If they do win 5 in a row here, and I don't think that's a gimme at all. I mean, you got to go to Northern Iowa is not a good team, but that's a team that can beat you any given week. And I think Youngstown State's really good, and you got to go to USD. No gimmies there. But if you do go 5-0 there, 7-4, it probably depends on what the CAA does, what maybe some teams in the OVC or the Southland do. It depends what that bubble looks like. But do you think a 7-4 team could sneak in if they run the table here?
Yeah, you need to see what happens with those teams they just lost to, too. So, is North Dakota... North Dakota would definitely get that at-large bid over the Bears if they both end up at 7-4. You see what happens with the rest of the Saluki season when they already have 2 losses on their resume. So they're kind of behind those 2, and then you're hoping that the Valley gets 5 teams in there. So you are looking at a lot of help from around the league and everything, or around the FCS. You hope some teams take a downfall. But if you win 5 straight, you look like you're playing well. Yeah, you look like the top 5 team that they were said to be after that Arkansas loss. It might be hard to tell them no, but these last 2 losses might have just been so damning in the matter that they lost them that you'd still be holding your breath come Selection Sunday, even if you were to win out when they need to actually show they can win a game at this point.
Missouri State, I know it's not this weekend, but next weekend going to UNI, will you be making that trip or not be making that great, highly anticipated road trip to Cedar Falls that you love?
That's up in the air.
Yeah.
It's a long drive, and I'm still the only sports reporter at the paper here in Springfield. So that's around. That would be week 9 of the high school football season with the conference championships that might take precedent over a struggling Bears team right now.
And I know that there's Bears basketball will be getting going too, which I know is a big talking point down there. How are they looking?
It's a completely overhauled roster with like 13 new guys, so no idea.
So you've got some work to do to catch up on that program then too.
Zero idea.
Kind of similar to NDSU.
And a new women's basketball coach as well. So this is going to be a hell of a next few weeks for me.
Yeah, you've got your work cut out for you. So we'll let you go and get to work on it. Wyatt Wheeler, Springfield news leader, nice enough to give us some time. Wyatt, always appreciate our conversations, and again, our best wishes to Art down there.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Have a good day, guys.
There he goes. That was a team that we thought was going to be maybe contending to win the Valley. I don't think it was probably going to be a stretch for them to be there, but get a bounce here, a bounce there. You don't play NDSU, there's a chance that you could finish tied and win yourself a share of the Valley, and things have just gone the complete opposite way for Missouri State here.
Yeah, you talk about a team that was ranked number 5 in preseason, and you kind of mentioned that downward spiral. They picked up a couple of early wins, and then it's just been kind of that downward spiral for them. The biggest, most impressive win was that when they were at ranked number 14, then UT Martin 35-30 there hosting them, and then after that just have not been able to find much life, and that's tough for that program.
They were even ranked number 4 in the Andy Rickoff top 15. Which is the most important one, of course. So
that's the big-time poll, by the way.
That's the big one. That's a big-time one. New one of those, by the way, on Thursday live at Sicky's. That Missouri Valley Mix, always brought to you every Tuesday by the great team at Beyond Realty, Todd Cattermas with Beyond Realty. When it's time to be moved, Todd Cattermas is here to assist you with all your real estate needs. Call 701-371-4234 or stop by 4832 Amber Valley Parkway in Fargo. Todd Cattermas with Beyond Realty, moving the herd one home at a time, and the official realtor of NDSU Athletics. Also, our show today brought to you in part by Men's Hair Company. Men's Hair Company, the only place to go for haircuts, waxing, shaves, beard care, and more. 5 Fargo, Moorhead, West Fargo locations to choose from. Go online to Men's Hair Co. today to schedule your appointment and go with the home team for your haircuts this football season. We'll take a break. We'll come back, wrap up hour number 1 at noon today. Easton Stick will join us on the Insiders on a Tuesday.
Champions play here.
This man was a bona fide scrub. He can't play. No disrespect whatsoever, but I'm sorry to tell everybody the truth. He has small hands. He can't catch the ball.
You're home for the Thundering Herd. Bison 1660.
Farmers, Theraldton Ethanol is open for corn receiving now through Saturday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. for wet and dry corn. That's now through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. for wet and dry corn. Theraldton Ethanol is located at 3549 153rd Avenue Southeast in Castleton. For more information, contact Brad or Doug at 701-347-3321 or visit Theraldton Ethanol online at cmgtheraldtonethanol.com. That's cmgtheraldtonethanol.com.
Corwin Toyota's lot is overflowing with used vehicles, and it's time to clear them out. Find the biggest selection of used cars, trucks, SUVs, and vans. All makes, all models, all priced to sell. Shop their huge selection of certified pre-owned Toyotas. It's the next best thing to new. Certified pre-owned vehicles come with an exceptional coverage policy. Each unit undergoes a 160-point inspection to ensure only the best. Receive the certified seal of approval. Shop Corwin Toyota today. CorwinToyota.com.
The Bison Hotline postgame show is broadcasting live this year from Applebee's on 19th Avenue North in Fargo. Come see the Bison 1660 crew live after every NDSU football game and register to win prizes including Bison 1660 t-shirts, tickets to upcoming games, and a whole lot more. Plus, take advantage of the great food and drink specials at Applebee's. Bison Hotline broadcasting live after every NDSU football game from Applebee's on 19th Avenue North in Fargo, right across from the Fargo Dome. Horns up.
I'm Emily. I had my LASIK surgery here at Vance Thompson Vision. Being in the healthcare field, the highest technology is huge for patients. For me, that was the leading choice and why I chose to go with Vance Thompson Vision. Life without glasses in the operating room has been incredible for me. There's no more fogging. There's no more having issues with my glasses sliding down on my face. It's been great for me.
Call 877-522-EYES to schedule a free consultation.
Here's your Red River Valley weather update on Bison 1660.
Been a pretty nice day in the Fargo-Moorhead area here so far. A high of 73 and mostly sunny conditions, but a bit breezy. That breeze will continue tonight up to 21 miles per hour and will cool down into the lower 40s. Slight chance of some showers on your Wednesday and a high in the 50s. This weather update brought to you by FM Truck Sales. If you're looking for good, clean work trucks for any size job, check out FM Truck Sales in Moorhead. FM Truck Sales is locally owned with a great staff. Check them out at fmtrucksales.net.
Sugar beet season is in full swing. Are you having issues with your bed liner while hauling? Contact Horn Plastics today. Horn Plastics has industry-leading bed liners that will guarantee you get every dime out of your haul. With a superior slide bed liner, you'll not only prolong the life of your equipment, you'll increase the amount of material in each load, increase the number of loads per day, which in turn makes you more money. Call today for a free estimate or to get your install scheduled. Online at hornplastics.com. That's hornplastics.com.
2 hours of sports talk every weekday, 11 to 1.
Well. Oh, my gracious.
Now, let's get back to the Insiders.
Miller in between the hash marks in the gun. Williams remains the back. Handoff here. Williams left side 30. 25 finds a hole. 15, 10, 5. In his side. Touchdown. Oh, mama, what a play. As the Mack truck found the interstate, the lanes, and got the touchdown, baby.
I love the PA, by the way, at Memorial Stadium. I'm a big fan. With every third down, remember the third down was fun. Get up, Sycamore Nation. It's third down. It was great.
It's better than what used to happen at Baylor. When I go to Baylor games, especially when they built the new McLean Stadium, it was depressing. The PA announcer, and I'm never one to criticize, but I am going to criticize here, so I am one to criticize now.
I was going to say, so you're definitely a criticizer.
He would go, it was depressing. He would just go like this. It's third down. Isn't that depressing?
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Isn't that depressing?
Yeah, a little
like
bit.
it's third down. Get excited.
Get into it, right?
Come on, man.
No, the PA guy at Memorial Stadium was definitely into it all game long. I'm surprised he had a voice by the time the fourth quarter rolled around. But that highlight right there, big-time play for the Bison, one of our Jim Beam smooth plays of the game. Jim Beam has bourbon for every palate, whether you want that smooth, classic Kentucky straight bourbon, the tangy new Jim Beam Orange, or the new canned cocktails, highball or ginger highball. Jim Beam has one for everybody, and they are the world's #1 bourbon. Please drink responsibly. Chris Hints of the winner of our Jim Beam insulated cooler picked it up today, so it was great to interact with Chris. She was the big-time winner, and we appreciate everybody coming out and putting their name in the hat to win that cooler. It was a fun giveaway.
Yeah, we're gonna have to call those guys and see if we can get another one of those. I'm gonna miss that.
Oh,
thing.
I got one.
We had that.
It's just mine though.
We had that thing for a month hanging on with us, and thank you to everybody who came out all over when we were doing the Bison the road tour. It was just awesome for the Insiders Road Tour to have so many people come out, and a lot of people entered to win that insulated cooler.
Yeah, everywhere we were, it was fun, and we're going back on the road again on Thursday at Sicky's Garage. Thursday for the Insiders off 45th Street South in Fargo. Make sure you're there because we're going to be giving away a pair of tickets to the NDSU SDSU game. People have asked me, "You're giving away tickets? What are the ticket giveaways?" It's at Sicky's every Thursday. We're giving away a pair of tickets this Thursday at Sicky's. You got to be there. At least put your name in the registration box for a chance to win those tickets. And it's a sold-out game, folks. You're not getting a ticket any other way. We gave away tickets all of last week, whether it be on the post-game show, at Sicky's, at other places. We're giving away another pair of tickets tomorrow, or actually Thursday, I should say, on the show. So we're giving away plenty of tickets to it. You just got to be at the shows to win them. So at Sicky's, 45th Street South in Fargo, Thursday for the show. That's your way to win a pair of tickets to the Dakota Marker game, which means on Thursday we will not be inside the glorious Theraldson Ethanol Broadcast Center, but Micah Bindi and his freshly trimmed and shaved face will be here.
This will be my alter ego, Michael.
Michael? Micah and Michael. Okay, kind of like it. I don't mind it. But you'll be here inside the Theraldson Ethanol Broadcast Center. Theraldson Ethanol in Castleton is open for corn receiving now through Saturday for wet and dry corn, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can contact Brad or Doug at Theraldson Ethanol or visit cmgtheraldsonethanol.com for more information. Again, open for corn receiving now through Saturday for wet and dry corn from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. at Theraldson Ethanol in Castleton. That'll do it for hour number one. Just like that, the first hour coming to a close. I think we talked a little roughing the passer penalty in hour number two, too, because might have overreacted to the Tua Tagovailoa situation. Not that it wasn't a scary thing or a scary situation. I like some of the changes they've made. Might be having a little bit of an overreaction to it with these roughing the passer penalties. That is maybe a Rickoff's rant for hour number two. Maybe we open up Rickoff's rant. I don't know.
Open it up, man.
Open the vault. Because that one was a little embarrassing the last couple of days, honestly. But the one last night, too.
Well, the Tua thing has now set the precedent that every time a quarterback gets tackled, it's going to be roughing the passer.
Got to make sure you tackle them with a pillow, a couple of blankets, maybe provide them a warm beverage, too.
And make sure you have your thumb in your mouth when you tackle them.
Yes.
Exactly. You'll be good to go.
That'll do it for hour number one of the show. We'll come back. Hour number two starts things off with former Bison quarterback Easton Stick. He joins us when we come back here for hour number two on a Tuesday on the Insiders.
The Fargo-Moorhead Diversion needs your help to transform our home into a safer and more successful place to live. When you join the ASN Constructors Fargo-Moorhead Area Diversion Channel team, you will take responsibility for creating a safety net for 250,000 people right here at home. Be part of history and the highest profile project in the FM area in years. ASN Constructors need dirt movers, heavy equipment operators, laborers, and construction apprentice. You'll earn great wages and benefits, including 401k. Apply now at asnconstructors.com.
This guy had more issues with his eyes. The minute he first came out of surgery, he walked in with a huge grin on his face, and for the first time since he was a little kid, he could see perfect.
Going to Vance Thompson Vision was an easy experience. If you're going to trust your eyes to anybody, trust them to a leader in that field.
When it came time for me to make a decision about where we were going to go for my LASIK surgery, there was no question that it would be Vance Thompson Vision.
Call 877-522-EYES to schedule a free consultation.
Here on Bison 1660, we love delivering the latest Bison news, but we also love our studio home.
Back inside our fantastic studio. You can't beat this one, folks. We love this place.
Now our home has a new name, the Therrelson Ethanol Broadcast Center. Live shows and the latest coverage of NDSU athletics.
Director of Athletics Matt Larson joining us. Head coach Matt Entz with us in studio.
It's all presented by Therrelson Ethanol, helping North Dakota lead the energy revolution. Join their growing team by visiting TherrelsonEthanol.com.
Every fan loves an explosive play on the field when someone breaks free and takes it to the house. Take that feeling anywhere with the explosive taste of Bud Light Seltzer, the official hard seltzer of the NDSU Bison. Bud Light Seltzer is always the right call for game day. The bold flavor of the hard soda variety pack and the all-new seasonal apple slices flavors will definitely score points with your team in the tailgate zone or inside the Fargo Dome. Bud Light Seltzer, the official hard seltzer of the NDSU Bison. Please drink responsibly, never drink and drive. When it comes to your electrical needs, you only need one call, and that's to JDP Electric. Whether it's a small residential project or a larger commercial job, JDP's team of professionals will work with you closely to make the process easy. Their dedicated team of professionals can assist with any size project or idea you may have, and even provide a few ideas they see that fit your budget as well. Call 232-1991 today to experience the JDP difference, or online at jdpelectric.net.
Hi, I'm Grant Nelson, NDSU Bison basketball player. Whether it's playing basketball or driving in my car, I want to do everything to the best of my ability, on the court and off the court. So when I'm in the car, I up my game with the Drive for Less program from Nodak Insurance. I could save up to 30% on my premium just for driving safely. To me, that's a slam dunk. Download the Nodak Insurance app today.
KQWB West Fargo, KPFX HD3 Kindred, and K224FD Fargo. Bison 1660, powered by Gateway Chevrolet, Cadillac, Nissan, and Hyundai in Fargo.
And here's what you need to know.
Roughing the passer penalties taking center stage the last couple of days in the NFL. The Associated Press reports the league plans to discuss those rules, although any changes would likely have to wait until after the season. The photographer who was pushed to the ground by Raiders receiver Davante Adams has filed a police report, and he went to the hospital with what are thought to be non-life-threatening injuries. NFL media reports Adams faces potential discipline, including suspension. He did apologize after the incident. NFL media reports Patriots running back Damian Harris is likely to miss multiple games with a hamstring injury. In the NBA, ESPN reports the Hawks are picking up team options for big man Onyeka Okongwu and for Jalen Johnson. Finally, in baseball, the division series gets underway today, beginning with the Phillies and Braves in Atlanta just after 1 o'clock Eastern. I'm Nick Cope.
You've got the insiders.
How you play today, from this moment on, is how you will be remembered.
That's what living is. The 6 inches in front of your face.
Bringing you what you need to know and a whole lot more. Topics you care about, guests you know, and the conversations you came to hear. The Insiders are presented by Proceed. Need seed? Think Proceed.
This is your time. Now go out there and take it.
Now, here are the Insiders.
The Insiders. The Insiders.
The Insiders.
Insiders.
Rob Hipp and Andy Rickoff.
Welcome back into the Insiders on a Tuesday edition of the show here on Bison 1660. As always, the show brought to you by Proceed. If you need seed, think Proceed online at proceed.net. It's a Tuesday during the football season. That means we talk with former Bison quarterback and current Chargers quarterback Easton Stick on the program. Brought to you by Red River Commodities, the Spirit Shop, and Men's Hair Company. Easton, great to have you back on with us, sir. Another week, another win. Nail-biter win, but you guys are squeaking these ones out right now.
Yeah, 2 tough road wins back-to-back, so feeling good about things as far as that goes. Obviously, wasn't the cleanest, wasn't the prettiest, and wasn't our best stuff, but to get a win on the road against that team who is just a tough matchup for everybody, I think, with the style they play, and then obviously they have really good players up front on both sides, a running back that is one of the better ones, and a strong receiving core. So a good team, tough place to play, so feeling good about stealing 2 on the road.
Yeah, it's a really good win. 30-28 on the road in the NFL is never an easy thing. You go to Cleveland and pick up the 2-point victory in that game. Nick Chubb, as you mentioned, 134 yards, 2 touchdowns. Kareem Hunt adds a touchdown on the ground. You had to know their running game was going to be a big factor in that one. How frustrating is that though, as an offense, when the other team's running the ball so well, they might have a 5, 6, 6.5 minute drive, and there's just nothing you guys can do about it.
Yeah, it was tough. We got down 14-0. They hit a big one, kind of split us on a run, and they hit a big one early on the first drive, and then we go for it in their territory on a 4th and 4 and don't get it, unfortunately, and then they go back down and score again and really possess the ball for a bunch of time in that first quarter. And it does make it tough, but credit to our guys. Our defense responded and did a really good job of limiting their explosives in the running game. And then, our running game got going. We ended up running for almost 240 yards in the game and hit them on a big one, over 70. And so, I think our run game was really the story in it because obviously people know that they can run the ball. I think there was a ton of questions about whether we could run the football. Especially against them, and so for us to go out there and rush for 240 yards with, a rookie left tackle getting really his first reps the last couple of weeks was huge for us.
Yeah, ran the ball really well. Austin Eckler, 16 carries, 173 yards, and a score. And he also adds just another touchdown through the air, 4 receptions for 26 yards. We've talked about Austin Eckler many a times as one of your best players. Mike Williams, too, 134 yards, 10 receptions. You guys have been without Keenan Allen here for a month, maybe even a little over a month at this point. And Mike Williams, who's been a really good player for you, has had to step up. How have you consistently gotten the ball to him when he's that A target, the target that the other team's trying to take away?
Yeah, Mike's been great, and I think he's really becoming an elite player at that position. Like everyone knows, Mike is as the 50-50 guy. You throw it up in the air, and he makes these ridiculous highlight reel catches, and he had 2 of them in the game on Sunday. But he's become so much more than that. We're throwing him wide receiver screens on the perimeter. We're getting him involved in like the nakeds and the keeper game, getting him the ball early in the flat and letting him go and run with it. The slant off the press, the fade stops that he runs, and then obviously the big go balls and post and all those different things that he's known for. He's really become an awesome player and is just so competitive. He loves playing and loves playing here. And I think we're doing a really good job just mixing it up how we're getting it to him. And I think that's been beneficial for us the last few weeks.
Back-to-back wins here for the Chargers at the Texans by 10 and then at the Browns this last Sunday by a couple of points, 30-28, the final there. Now you're 3-2, and I think when a couple weeks we talked to you guys are 1-2 and just not reeling because it was only a couple weeks into the season, but you're at the point where like, okay, we got to kick things into gear and get a couple of wins back. That win in itself is just one game, but to be 3-2 instead of 2-3, how big of a difference is that mentally this early in the season to be a team that's above 500 rather than kind of fighting from behind again?
Yeah, well, I think you certainly feel better on the plane and certainly feel better sitting in meetings on Monday and getting back here on Wednesday too. The attitude in the building is a little bit different. And football's funny that way because, you could easily look at all 5 weeks and say if a ball bounces, one way, then maybe the record's completely different. But the way you played is the exact same. And so football can be weird that way. And I think you gotta avoid getting caught up in the record as much as you can and just continue to find ways to get better. And be really honest and critical when we came in yesterday, to watch the game against Cleveland and be like, okay, we won the game, but let's not sit here and act like we played great football. Let's be critical and be accountable for everything that we put out there, and make sure we're finding ways to get better because this season is long, and the teams that are really good at the end are the ones that just continue to get better throughout the year and find ways to improve and find out what kind of team that that they need to be, and what that looks like week to week. So that's kind of where we're at. Coach Staley keeps calling us a work in progress, and I think that makes a lot of sense. So we just got to keep going.
Again, Easton Stick joining us here, brought to you by Men's Hair Company, Red River Commodities, and the Spirit Shop. You're 3-2 overall, 1-1 in the division, and a chance to get to 2-1 in the division on Monday Night Football as well, at home against Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos. Back in the division, those are always hard games. You can talk a lot about the Broncos offense. I think that's been underwhelming so far this season in the first year with Russell Wilson and a new head coach, Nathaniel Hackett. But you guys are going against their defense, and that defense has looked mighty tough. Definitely a legit defense for the Broncos here.
Yeah, definitely. And I think they've been that way, since I've been with the Chargers, and going back with Vic Fangio and that style. And when I first got here, Von Miller, and then you had Bradley Chubb and Pat Surtain. And then I think one of the better safety combinations that there is in pro football with Kareem Jackson and Justin Simmons, who knows, he's been beat up, but anticipating he goes. And so just a lot of really good football players on that side of the ball, and some younger, draft picks and stuff that I think are having a big impact this year. So it's a tough matchup, and it'll be a lot of fun. Like you said, it's Monday Night Football, so that fires everybody up.
How different is Monday Night Football compared to everything else? I mean, your prep is basically the same, right? Maybe it's an extra day of stuff. Maybe you get a chance to watch some football games on Sunday a little bit, but just what's the different feeling for you on a Monday Night Football game?
Yeah, like you said, the week's a little bit different structure-wise. You just have one more day to kind of get your body sealed up and ready to go and work on the plan a little bit. But you just know, everybody knows it's the standalone game, right? There's only one of them going on in the whole country, and everybody's watching. And you grew up watching Monday Night Football and hearing the music, being played pregame and all that stuff, and looking forward to watching your favorite teams and stuff all day at school, all that stuff when you're a kid. And so knowing that you're in that game is pretty exciting. And so the build up Monday morning into the evening is a really fun feeling.
In here with former Bison quarterback Easton Stick, and the main thing I wanted to spend a couple minutes on here with you, Easton, is this week for the Bison. It's marker week. It's NDSU, SDSU, and this rivalry obviously is the number one rivalry, I think, for most fans. You can argue the UND angle as well. It started to come back over the last couple of years, but especially when you were at NDSU, it was Bison, it was Jackrabbits. That was the number one rivalry without a doubt. What goes through your mind when I say Dakota marker week?
Yeah, for me, that was the rivalry game. That was the game I didn't get a chance to play against UND once in 2015, but Carson was playing, and so I wasn't a part of that rivalry. So for me, and I think for guys and kind of the years around when I played, this is the game, and so just a lot of fun. It's back and forth, and we've played each other so many times. Obviously every year in the regular season, but it felt like just about every other year in the playoffs as well. And so you just play each other so many times that, I don't know, they're so familiar with us, we're familiar with them. And so I think it really levels the playing field, regardless of who might be having a better season, or maybe you have an advantage at a certain position or certain area. I think the knowledge and the familiarity of the coaching staffs and of the players levels the playing field a little bit, but obviously the fans get into it, and it's a ton of fun, so it'll be a huge week.
Was this one of the games where you had to make more adjustments than others because the teams know each other so well? They come up with different wrinkles or different things. Was that one of the games where on the sideline you're maybe talking more with offensive coordinators or other coaches about making adjustments during the game?
A little bit. I think that's part of the preparation and the plan is like, okay, we know what they're doing. They know what we're doing, and how much wrinkle is there going to be on either side of the ball. You could sit there as NDSU and be like, okay, they know how to defend this play and how to defend that play. That we run a ton. So do we need to do X, Y, and Z differently? And I think that's part of the challenge sometimes is finding the right amount of what are we going to change up just enough to give them a little bit different look. So it is something new, they have to go back to the sideline and talk about and try to figure out, versus let's just run our stuff. And ultimately this game, and it always has been, has come down to execution and turnovers. If you can take care of the football, things take care of themselves ultimately on the scoreboard. It's really about just executing better than they do and not trying to come up with this, brand new, fancy game plan that is a little bit different. It's more about executing your stuff better than they do. And you look back at the years that they did beat us, and that was kind of the story, was turnovers, and then just poor execution on some stuff.
You had good and bad days against SDSU. One bad one at their place, I believe, in that 2017 season, but in 2018, you beat them twice, and you had the win in the Fargo Dome. You had the win in the playoffs as well against them. Can you take us through just your thoughts on both sides of this rivalry, when you do win it and when you don't win it, and what the feeling is?
Yeah, it's tough when you don't win it. I remember 2016, we lost 17-13, I believe, or something like that. 19-17 maybe is what it was, on like a last-second touchdown pass to Jake Winicky in the corner, and that was the first time we had lost in I don't know how many years, 8 years or something like that, and so that was tough.
1917.
Yeah, 1917, right? It was in the north corner of the end zone, but so that was tough. When it was the first one. And it's just not a fun feeling. It never is. You just know how much it means to people in the community, to both communities and to both schools. And so to be on the losing end is really tough. You put a lot into that week, and there's so much buildup that it is really tough. But ultimately, whether you win, it's not the end of the season. The goal typically, is to win the Valley, and obviously winning this game gives you a huge advantage. But the Valley is tough, every single week, and so sometimes it's out of your control, but things happen, and you're not out of it. And then obviously the playoffs, so it's tough, and it's a great feeling when you do win. But at the end of the day, it's not the end goal, and the season keeps moving.
That 2018 season as well, you faced them in the playoffs, and I got you down for 12 of 15 for 169 and a score through the air, and then 16 carries, 147 yards, and 3 touchdowns on the ground. What do you remember from that game, the last time you faced the Jackrabbits?
Yeah, that one was fun. That was special for a lot of reasons. It was a semifinal game, and it was Coach Kleiman's last game in the Fargo Dome. A big senior class, 20-some of us. Playing our last game in the Fargo Dome, and so that one was special. And the season we were having, we felt really good about that matchup, the way we were playing, and just knew that there was no way that we were going to be denied. And that one was a lot of fun. Just kind of leaned on the offensive line that night, handed it to Bruce, and myself running a little bit more than normal, just because of circumstance, and so was a lot of fun and a lot of big plays, explosive plays in that game, and so the defense played great and really kind of allowed us to run away with it at the end. But definitely a special moment, with everything that was involved in that game.
Yeah, Bruce Anderson, 9 carries, 79 yards, and 2 scores. So 5 rushing touchdowns in the game for you guys that year in 2018 in the playoffs against SDSU. Well, Easton, obviously appreciate you joining us here once again. Congratulations on that win against Cleveland, above 500, and let's keep it that way. Get another win in the division on Monday night, okay?
Yeah, you bet. Have fun this week.
There you go. It's Easton Stick. Nice enough to stop by and give us some time on a Tuesday here on The Insiders. Our conversations with Easton brought to you each and every week by Men's Hair Company, The Spirit Shop, and Red River Commodities. Red River Commodities is the maker of Sun Butter, and Sun Butter is the maker of delicious sunflower butters the whole family can enjoy. Sun Butter is free of the top 8 food allergens, including peanuts, tree nuts, soy, and dairy, grown in the tri-state area, and produced locally at Red River Commodities in Fargo. Sun Butter, simple ingredients, delicious flavor. Good to be 3-2 instead of 2-3. I do have a bit of an issue. I didn't want to ask Easton this, but Brandon Staley, their head coach, he's aggressive. He's always been aggressive. He said from day one, I'm going to be aggressive. They had the ball. They were up by 2 points with about a minute left to go. Cleveland had no timeouts, and They were on their own 46-yard line, up by 2. And he decided to go for it on 4th and 2 instead of punting the ball away. They didn't get it and gave the ball back to Cleveland on the Chargers' 46-yard line, basically, instead of punting it away. His argument for it at the end of the game in post-game press conference was, well, if you get the first down, the game's over. We end the game. We don't give them the ball back. And my thought was, well, yeah, if you punt it away, they've got no timeouts and got to drive the entire length of the field, basically, as long as you punt that thing inside the 10, which you should be able to do. And then they've got no timeouts and got to drive the whole way to score on you to win the game. So I was definitely scratching my head when he went for it on 4th and 2. They didn't get it and gave the ball back to the Browns, and all they needed was about 10 yards of field position to get in range for a field goal. Thankfully, they missed the field goal, but barely missed the field goal, and that was a decision that could have blown up in Brandon Staley's face. He's made a couple of those kind of decisions.
You got to wonder what they're looking at. We talked earlier in a break about analytics. We've been hearing that word a lot, and do you look at the analytics of you go for it on 4th down and 2 and in a league-wide kind of baseline average, or you got to take into consideration analytics for your own team? What has your team historically done in those situations as well? So at the end of the day, that's why I'm glad I'm a broadcaster. I don't have to make those kind of decisions. But as a fan stepping back watching, you got to question, okay. But again, Andy, it's one of these if this, then that kind of situations, you know?
Yeah, I mean, if you don't go for it, you punt it away, and they drive all the way down and kick a field goal. Some people are probably saying 4th and 2, you got to go for it. You got Justin Herbert. You have him. You got to use him. You keep the ball in his hands. But for me, it's just I know the analytics say, okay, if you get the first down, the game's over. So I get that. But also, if you punt it away, you're up by 2. The team's got no timeouts, a little less than a minute probably after the punt, and they got to go the length of the field. You probably got like a 97, 98% chance of winning. So going for it on 4th and 2 means you go from a 98% chance of winning if you just punt it to a 100% chance. So you're gaining like 2.5%, 3% chance of winning the game. But if you don't get the 4th down, you're probably at like a 70% chance of losing that game because all they need is 10 yards. Not even that. They could attempt a field goal just a couple of yards further down the field. So I don't think the risk versus reward there is very much because you should be able to close out a game. If you don't think your defense can close out a game when the team's got no timeouts and got to drive the length of the field, probably don't have much confidence in your defense, and you probably won't be winning many games anyways.
Well, flip the script. I mean, go to last night. Raiders go for a 2-point conversion when they had an opportunity to tie it. What were the analytics at that point saying about the Raiders?
Yeah, and I didn't necessarily agree with that one in the moment either because I thought 4.5 minutes left. You got to stop them no matter what. So I would just tie the game up, and probably each team will get a possession here at the last 4.5, which is kind of how it worked out anyway. So both teams got a possession. So I wasn't all for the Raiders going for 2 either. Your thoughts, Micah?
Is the message being sent that you're confident in your offense, or is it that you don't believe in your defense not letting the Browns get 40, 50 yards to get in field goal position? What is the message being sent?
Again,
it's like a hypothetical question. Just
Yeah.
What is it? Is it that you don't trust
I
your
absolutely
defense?
think that way. If I'm on defense, I'm like, okay, so you don't trust us to stop them. That's basically how it is.
Because at the minimum,
I know they've been driving on us at the end, but we should be able to stop somebody on defense. And if I was on defense and they did that, I'd be like, okay, so you don't trust us to get a stop.
And I mean, in these positions, is there, it depends on the team, but is there a unanimous decision? Does it solely lie on one guy, or are they collaborating together saying, okay, I think we're going to do this? I mean, at the end of the day, the head coach is always the one that's going to take a blame for what happens on a team. But I would think, it's almost like you need to put together a quick committee and make a decision on, okay, we're all in on this. We, outvoting 3-2, let's do it.
Every team's got their analytics people. Everyone's got, whether it be one person, 2 or 3 people that are relaying information to the coach, and they probably decide it before the drive. I know Josh McDaniels said before that drive even started for the Raiders, him and Derek Carr met, and they both said, if we get a touchdown, we're going for 2. That's just how we're doing it. They decided that before. I also don't love that. You should be able to have some fluidity. You should be willing to change. You shouldn't just say, okay, we're going into a game, this is what we're doing, and we're sticking to it. Like, okay, the game might change. You should be able to adapt too, personally. That's my thought on it, but everyone's got their different reasons for going for it or not going for it.
At the minimum, you could punt and just get a touchback, and they're at the 20.
Yeah.
And they still have to get
And where they're basically at midfield,
yards.
an NFL kicker should get that thing inside the 15 for sure.
And it's not like this is the first decision that Brandon Staley has made where people were like, whoa, what are we doing
Made
here?
some really questionable ones last year. And he's aggressive. I will say this. He said from the get-go he's going to be aggressive and try and go out and win games. And he's done that. He has stuck to his guns. So his team knows what kind of coach he is. But It almost cost them a game, and it has cost them other games in the past. And that's a team that has some expectations. You keep losing games by doing that. That's going to start to create some questions from the upper management of, what are you doing? And do we need to get somebody else to do something differently because the way you're doing it is just simply not working. All of our game day and game week coverage all week long of NDSU versus SDSU, which we will continue to do throughout the rest of the week and throughout the rest of the show today. All of that coverage is brought to you by the great team at The Bridges, online at bridgesnd.com. Whether you're a student or a parent of one, find the perfect living space that has a controlled access, fun environment, affordable prices, and is just steps away from all of the local colleges. If you sign a lease for the 2023-24 school year, all application fees are waived. Their living experience includes all-inclusive pricing, individual leases. You lease by the bedroom, and every renter has their own bedroom with private bath, and then you share the common space. It's great, especially for college living when you got 4 or 5 people. Each one gets their own bathroom, own bedroom, and you share that common space. And the common space comes fully furnished as well. Couches, chairs, TVs, also washer and dryer in every unit, desks, beds, all there for you, plus that 50-inch smart TV at The Bridges, fully furnished units and all-inclusive pricing, plus cable, internet, water, sewer. It's all included in your monthly deal. And the amenities, The Bridges has thought of everything for a better living experience for you or your kids. If they need to focus and get that education, they got some great study areas, great education areas where they can sit down, get their work done in peace and quiet. Also a fitness area, outdoor gaming area, and an automated convenience store, plus a courtyard with grills, pizza oven, fireplaces, and so much more. Online again at bridgesnd.com. Take a break. We'll come back. Roughing the passer in the NFL. You got to change something there? I think we might have to. Discuss that when we come back.
The most complete Bison coverage in the region. Your Bison Nation station.
You are deep in thought, which is always dangerous.
Bison 1660.
Our Road to the Ring is brought to you by Schmidt's Gems and Fine Jewelry. Senior running back Tamarick Williams set a career-high rushing for 145 yards and 3 touchdowns. His top-ranked North Dakota State defeated Indiana State in Terre Haute 31-26 on October the 8th. Wide receiver Zach Mathis also had a career day with 6 receptions for 88 yards, and senior linebacker James Kaiser made a team-high 10 tackles, including 2 sacks. Junior defensive tackle Will Mostart earned his first career Conference Player of the Week honor after blocking a 30-yard field goal to help preserve a 4-point lead late in the third quarter. The Bison are now 3-0 in conference play and 5-1 overall. The Road to the Ring is brought to you by Schmidt's Gems and Fine Jewelry. They have a long history and reputation for quality workmanship and rock-solid pricing. Whether diamond engagement rings, custom jewelry, or repairs, let Brenda and the team at Schmidt's Gems and Fine Jewelry create a legacy for you and your family. Next up for the Bison, they return home to the Fargo Dome to battle the South Dakota State Jackrabbits on Saturday in the annual Dakota Marker Game.
Chris Hoffman is the founder and owner of Bonanza Agronomy Services, an independent consultant and seed provider. Chris, during these times, why is it so important to be working with an independent agent like Bonanza Ag?
When you're an independent, you literally cry when your customer cries, and you win when your customer wins. Because my company doesn't survive without farmers, period.
Make your operation run and perform better today. Meet Chris and Bonanza Ag on Facebook or at bonanzaag.com. That's bonanzaag.com.
The Bison Hotline post-game show is broadcasting live this year from Applebee's on 19th Avenue North in Fargo. Come see the Bison 1660 crew live after every NDSU football game and register to win prizes including Bison 1660 t-shirts, tickets to upcoming games, and a whole lot more. Plus, take advantage of the great food and drink specials at Applebee's. Bison Hotline broadcasting live after every NDSU football game from Applebee's on 19th Avenue North in Fargo, right across from the Fargo Dome. Horns up.
Hi, it's Kelly, and I want to tell you about my great experience with Valley Service Mechanical. They were polite and very easy to deal with. They were knowledgeable and helped me understand every step of the process. From the initial discussion of purchase options to the installation, it was a top-notch experience. If you ever want to work with professionals, I would strongly recommend Valley Service Mechanical.
When your heating and cooling needs help and your plumbing is on the fritz, call Valley Service Mechanical, 701-293-5701. online at valleyservice.net.
Truck headquarters. Gateway Chevrolet has new Chevy trucks arriving daily. Buy your new Chevy Silverado at Invoice. Yes, Invoice pricing on new Silverados with a fresh look, new interiors, and larger screens with easy-to-use technology. Save thousands on new Chevy Silverados with 4 different motors available. Dynamic fuel management, Bluetooth, backup camera, Apple CarPlay, and more. Save thousands and enjoy the smooth ride in your new Chevy Silverado from Gateway Chevrolet. Find new roads. Details gatewayfargo.com.
Missed portions of today's show? Go to bison1660.com to listen to the podcast or find us on Facebook and Twitter at bison1660.
$12.28 on the Insiders. Had some people chiming in via our text line. You can text the program 701-476-1660. Mark in America, who's been in Fargo for the last couple of weeks, says Micah's alter ego should be Akeem. So I guess that's what we're calling you now. It's going to be Akeem.
Is that because it's my name backwards? How is he spelling it?
A-K-I-M. So it is. So he spelled Micah like
with
M-I-K-A. He said Micah's name. And he spelled Micah M-I-K-A. And then Akeem is A-K-I-M.
I like that.
I'm sorry, Mark. That's not how he spells his name. M-I-C-A-H.
Yeah, nailed it.
So Hakeem?
Hakeem?
Maybe.
Might
be
be
the alter ego.
Did you ever see the movie Coming to America, the old one?
No.
Hakeem was in that movie.
No.
Eddie Murphy, Arsenio Hall, one of the greatest movies of all time.
Never seen it.
Oh, you should.
Have ever seen, Jeff Goldheim would hate me right now. Tombstone.
Yeah, love Tombstone.
Yeah. You have not seen Tombstone.
Come on, man.
Nah.
I'm from Texas.
I don't even know
of course
what it
I've
is.
seen Tombstone.
Yeah, so Jeff brought that up a long time ago, and he said something about Tombstone. I said, you mean the pizza? Because I had never seen it. And he took away my man card and never, ever let it go. I did actually end up watching that. That was my going away present for him. When he left, I watched it the day before and gave him a thorough review of it. So Wyatt Earp.
Yeah.
I'm your Huckleberry.
Yeah.
I get it now. I get some of that stuff now. Micah doesn't.
Sorry, watch the movie. It's a good movie. It's a great movie.
It's a solid movie.
All right.
It's solid. You guys watch Dahmer? Anybody gotten into Dahmer?
I'm not talking about that
Yeah.
anymore, man.
I watched it over the weekend, the first 2 episodes. Woo! Yeah, you want to not sleep at night, watch that documentary or whatever you're going to call it, I guess, on Netflix. I don't know who the actor is. I should look it up. Whoever the actor is that plays Jeffrey Dahmer in this docuseries, I guess I don't know because I never met Jeffrey Dahmer, but it seems like he plays that role to perfection, really, really well.
Well, I'm sitting there the other night. I've been waking up like 4 a.m. and I get up at 4 a.m. I've not searched for Dahmer at all on my phone. Haven't talked about it, and then what shows up in my Facebook feed? News articles about Dahmer, and it's pictures of his apartment. Thankfully, it doesn't show much, but I mean, it shows the actual pictures of his apartment. After they went in, and that's just, oh man, come on. Look,
because your
man.
phone's right next to you right now, and you're talking about it. It's listening to you.
Yeah, so that's going to come. That's going to show up later tonight. Now again.
You're going to watch it.
And they say that they say that okay, we're not listening in, but give me a break. The other day we're talking about the Cleveland Browns. I don't ever search for the Cleveland Browns. Why would I search for the Cleveland Browns? All of a sudden I start getting articles about the Cleveland Browns.
Season tickets. You want to buy season tickets to the Cleveland Browns?
No way.
Not at all. Shifting focus though. Not talking about Dahmer, which I do. I'm probably going to watch the rest of it just because I'm kind of in now. I'm hooked at this point. But roughing the passer penalties. Do we have to? I think there might have been an overreaction to the Tua. And again, what happened to Tua was bad, and the way he looked on the ground with his hands basically frozen was really, really bad. And we need to be better about the concussion protocol stuff. And the Dolphins absolutely messed up. They can say all they want that it was a back injury and stuff. No, Mike McDaniel, you guys messed up. It starts with you. You're the head coach, and you messed up big time. Are we overreacting to it? And I think the answer is yes, because there's always an overreaction, right? Whenever there's something. That's why we call it Overreaction Mondays. Monday morning meat sandwich of overreaction. But Teddy Bridgewater was taken out of the game on Sunday for the Dolphins because he got hit and his head hit the turf. They came in, took him out, had to go through concussion protocol. He passed. He passed everything. But there was the spotter upstairs, someone looking down said they saw him stumble. Something like one stumble. There's no video of it anywhere. Nobody else saw it, but the spotter said, I saw him stumble. That's ataxia. He wasn't walking straight. He's gone. He's out of the game for the rest of the game. And then the NFL also sent out memos to the referees to, hey, make sure we aren't having these quarterbacks thrown to the ground where their heads hitting the ground and they're getting thrown down with the full weight of the defensive linemen. And now we're having roughing the passer calls that are just absolutely pathetic and should never have been called in the first place.
Look, man, at the end of the day, I'm all about player safety, but you got to start thinking of what precedent is this starting to set. Now, the whole thing with Tua, yeah, everyone saw that. They always say, what does the eye see? Well, the eye saw something there. I agree with that one 100%. But you start talking about a spotter up in a booth now that says, oh, look what I saw. How is that going to affect things when we get into the playoffs? What if somebody up there, look, man, despite what people say, oh, yeah, I'm neutral, let's be honest. Michael Jordan got proverbial treatment in the NBA. Tom Brady gets treatment in the NFL. There's going to be guys. Who's to say that somebody's not going to, oh, well, I saw him do this, and so now you're going to just automatically say, okay, I'm going with what that guy said, even though nobody else saw it? If we can have reviews and other stuff with other plays, they need to change the way that they are going about reviewing these kind of calls. Look, I understand it's going to slow the game down, but there's also huge implications like we saw last night. That would have been a turnover. But instead,
it was a turnover. The ball was loose and he grabbed it.
It would have been, but nope, it was roughing the passer. Man, it is time. I said earlier, it's time to take your thumb out of your mouth, put a little hot sauce on it so you never put it back in, and just play the game. Because it's starting to get out of hand. It is, and it is an overreaction now.
Yeah, and Tom Brady's gotten these kind of calls before. There's definitely preferential treatment. Players get treated a little bit differently when you've been in the league, and refs will say they don't do it, but it's not even the ref's fault. It's human nature. Like, it's Tom Brady. It's LeBron gets calls going to the lane. It just happens in every single sport.
And the thing is, with the officials, though, I mean, they have to throw the flag. I mean, that's what they're told to do. So now
that's why I don't blame Jerome Boger on Sunday. I don't blame whoever the ref was last night. I know they were booing him insane. And if you're a fan in the stands, there's nothing else you can do, so I understand why you're just reacting that way. I'm not mad at the referees. They're being told by the NFL, hey, Tua went out. I want you guys, every single time a quarterback's on the ground, you make sure that was a legal sack and that he wasn't thrown to the ground, that the whole body weight wasn't on somebody. And they're not doing it for any other position. It's just for the quarterbacks. That's the only position they're doing it for. If a defensive lineman takes an offensive lineman to the ground and smacks his head on the ground, nobody cares. But it's the quarterback. We've got to treat them well. We're treating the quarterbacks with kid gloves. Take them off. They're football players. There's part of me, there's a small part, because I love player safety. There needs to be some aspect of player safety. There's a part of me that just wants to go back and say, hey, you're playing football. It's a dangerous game. You signed up for it. You're going to have some issues probably down the line because you're playing NFL football against grown men who are physical freaks. That's just the way it is. And part of me wants to go back to the old school of, hey, it's a physical game. You sign a waiver, you sign up for it, you're making millions and millions of dollars. Like, you need to stop treating the quarterbacks the way they're treating them, personally.
It's part of the risk when you sign up to play football, as you just said. You know that there's guys, and that's part of football, is you want to have those big defensive guys who can come in and make those kind of plays. And I agree, there are times where you do it a little bit too rough. But at the end of the day, football's football. You know what you're getting into. And I think that there needs to be opportunities for officials to go back and review these kind of plays. Somebody was talking earlier and saying, oh, well, they'll look at that at the end of the season and see if they can go through and make those changes. Well, the deal is, why do you have to wait till the end of the season? If you can go through and make changes on concussion protocol midway through the season, make the changes now to preserve the game and the integrity of the game. Because for me, it comes down to playoff implications, and especially once you get in the playoffs, how are these type of plays going to make calls that are going to impact teams' decisions and what they're going to do in the future, and more importantly, them getting into the playoffs or even getting to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, Micah?
The body weight issue on the quarterback, I think that goes back even farther than Tua. That comes back to Aaron Rodgers, in my opinion, when Anthony Barr took Aaron Rodgers down and had the body weight, and then Aaron Rodgers got hurt, was done for the year.
Broke his collarbone.
So that's where I think the body weight on the quarterback is an issue, and you're pretty much making it impossible on defensive linemen, linebackers, whoever is tackling the quarterback on actually being able to do it. Because as we saw last night, Chris Jones had the ball. He took it from Derek Carr.
Knocked it out before he even tackled him.
So technically he's not even a guy with the ball. So is he a runner? Is he still...
At that point, you're just fighting for a loose ball, right?
Exactly.
Technically.
But what do you expect the defensive lineman to do? To tackle him without having any body weight?
That's the thing. Now, I'm not 300 pounds. I don't know what that's like. But even me at I'm 205 or something, I can't stop my body weight. How do you expect a 300-pound defensive lineman who's falling on a guy to be like, okay, I'm going to stop? And he actually Sort of did. Chris Jones put his arm out and did brace himself a little bit to take some of his body weight off of Derek Carr. But you're asking the defensive players to do way, way, way too much and taking absolute kid gloves approach with all these quarterbacks. And I get it. They're what sell tickets. It's at the end of the day, it's an entertainment business. The NFL, it's about entertainment, and it's less entertaining if star quarterbacks are getting hurt. So I get that there's got to be some protections for them. But a sack is a sack. You can't just go, full body weight, we got to call a flag. And those penalties are big. That's a 15-yarder. That changes a drive. It probably goes up. What are the analytics? We can talk about analytics again. But when you get an extra 15 yards after a play, whether it be on first, second, or third down, you probably get an increased chance of scoring, like 30% chance of scoring on the drive now because you got an extra free 15 yards. Those are big drive-changing, game-altering type of penalties, really.
Not only did it add 15 yards, but it took the ball away from the Chiefs, and that was right before the end of the half, too.
Mm-hmm.
There was less than a minute left, and the Chiefs are going to have the ball in scoring position again.
Can we do something like we do with kickers where there's roughing the kicker and running into the kicker? It's like, okay, you took 3 extra steps and you lowered the helmet and you just speared him in the chest. That's roughing the passer. Whereas that one, okay, you kind of just fell on him a little bit. That's the 5-yard version of like over tackling or whatever you want to call it, like running into the quarterback. Maybe we can do something like that.
Levels of roughing the passer, like when there's the body weight on the quarterback, maybe that's a 5-yarder. But
then again, you're also making it too difficult on the refs. And the reason they don't review it is because it's a judgment call. You can't judge the intent of the player. Was he trying to do it or not trying to do it? I agree they need to change it because we're running into an issue where it's going to happen in the playoffs. On both things, by the way. One, where there's going to be a roughing the passer call that gets messed up in the playoffs and screws some team out of possibly winning a game or advancing. And also the concussion thing, too. There was multiple players brought out of games that they checked through the concussion protocol and were fine, but spotter in the sky, nope, I'm not quite sure about that, so I'm better safe than sorry. And it is better safe than sorry. But in the AFC Championship game, if Josh Allen, who's a physical runner, gets hit a little bit and they take him out to check him for concussion protocol and someone says, oh, he stumbled, he took one bad step, okay, he's out for the game, and it's the first quarter. And I get it. Health and safety is more paramount, right? But we're going towards a situation that's going to happen in the playoffs. Some team's going to lose their quarterback in the first quarter and lose a game when he was fine.
Yeah, I just don't. Again, I'm all for figuring out ways to not slow the game down tremendously. I understand judgment calls, but at some point you do have to go and look at a judgment call and say, okay, well, this was a poor judgment. We will reverse this. And that's just not the way it is right now, and that's going to cost somebody big down the road.
Until something major happens that changes the rules, like what happened with Tua. Major thing where the dude basically froze up and was paralyzed for like half a second on national television. That's a major thing. It's going to change rules instantly. Not end of season, instantly. And maybe I think there definitely was an overreaction to it just a bit with what you saw over this last weekend and even yesterday.
Can we talk another overreaction without getting off topic? It's kind of on topic. It's still pro. How about Devontae Adams' overreaction post-game, pushing the photographer? And that photographer has claimed he's filed a police report.
Yep.
And he went to the hospital, although non-life-threatening injuries.
Yeah, he fell down after Devontae Adams, the guy was in his way, he just pushed him, shoved him straight down. That's going to be a fine from the team, fine from the NFL for sure. And there's probably going to be I would assume, maybe a lawsuit from the guy that got pushed down because it's Devontae Adams.
Did he get a scrape on his elbow?
Probably. Might be all it was, but he's going to say my back hurts, got headaches or something like that. And hey.
He claimed injuries.
Yeah. And honestly, he had some nice equipment that probably got broke too or, affected in some way. So I know what we're going to say is he's fine. He's just, trying to get money from a rich guy. But, hey, you're Devontae Adams. You signed up for this. This is the life you live. You cannot act like that when you lose a football game. You just can't because that's what's going to happen.
I'm not making light of this, but it says authorities tell us the man claimed he was the victim of an assault. They say he told him he suffered injuries, though they were, quote, unquote, thought to be non-life-threatening.
Yes, they definitely are non-life-threatening. But at the end of the day, it is technically an assault. Technically, by law.
That's major overreaction, Micah.
Trying to get some money.
That's what it is.
See. The only way I think he got hurt is if he hit his head on the concrete.
Which he might have.
He could have.
Yeah.
He definitely could have.
End of the day, you can say it's just because of money, but if I'm in that situation and I get shoved down unprovoked by some NFL player, like there's a chance I'd be doing the same thing.
The video shows
it's the life you ask for when you sign up to be an NFL or a pro athlete.
The photographer, it almost looks like I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, but it almost looks like he purposely got in front of him But he's not going to know that Devontae Adams is going to push him. But if you're going down, if you just want to play that game, I mean, it literally looks like he got up right in front of Devontae Adams.
Well, cameramen do that all the time, right? You got to get the video for the TV of him walking into the tunnel or something. There's cameras around you all the time.
And
if
that's
you can't
what
deal
Adams
with the camera in your face, then don't be there.
Adams goes, yeah, he got up right in front of me. Of course he got up in front of me, but that doesn't give you a reason to push him down. Andy, you walked by me in the hall a while ago. What am I going to push you out of the way?
Yeah. There's cameras around you 24/7. You're an NFL football player. You're a celebrity. Comes with the territory. Act better around it. So didn't handle it well, and now he's probably going to suffer consequences, and he's going to be just fine. He's still going to be making tens and tens of millions of dollars because he's Devontae Adams.
Might be suspended. There's rumors that he might get suspended.
Honestly, you need to act better. Again, NFL players are role models to a lot of young kids. Young kids
any
see that.
human act better. Don't push a person that walks in front of you.
Because you lost the football game.
And the cameraman may not have to be a cameraman anymore.
Yeah. Could work out for him. We'll have to see. Take a break. We'll come back live from the Theraldson Ethanol Broadcast Center. You're listening to The Insiders, brought to you each and every day by Proceed, home of the Right Choice and Right Stuff programs, and online at proceed.net. If you need seed, think Proceed. Back to wrap up the show here next.
Bison Nation, your exclusive home for North Dakota State Athletics. Bison 1660.
So most companies claim they have good people, good product, good customer service, but the question is how often. We go the extra mile to take care of our dealers and our growers, and more importantly, their families and their customers.
Proceed tries to bring a family-like experience. Farmers, we want to understand what their challenges are. We also want to bring products to them that help them overcome those challenges so that they can be as successful as possible.
Need seed? Think Proceed. Proceed.net. Great seed at a reasonable price.
Fall is about tradition. Tradition on the field with Bison football and tradition in the cooler with Bud Light, the official beer of the NDSU Bison. When you're enjoying a clean sack or a perfectly timed touchdown pass, let the crisp, cold, clean taste of Bud Light tackle your taste buds. The only bigger crowd pleaser on Saturday is another Bison win. Whether it's in the tailgate zone, a couch gate at home, or inside the Fargo Dome, the Bison go best with Bud Light, the official beer of the NDSU Bison. Please drink responsibly, never drink and drive.
Dakota Refrigeration has been helping the Bison succeed behind the scenes. From their training room to their dining room, from milk to medicine, from ice to ice cream, Dakota Refrigeration has been serving Minnesota, Montana, and the Dakotas for over 4 decades. Locally owned and operated since 1974, Dakota Refrigeration is a full-service source for your refrigeration, heating, ventilation, air conditioning, and electrical needs. Dakota Refrigeration, located in Fargo, Bismarck, and Minot.
With the rising threat of cybersecurity attacks, you need to ensure your business is fully protected. Data loss, ransomware attacks, and other breaches can disrupt your business and damage your reputation. Consolidated Communications Cloud Secure Service safeguards your business from these attacks by securing your network, data, and applications. We proactively monitor your security to prevent intrusions before they compromise your IT systems while protecting your staff in the office or when working remotely. Visit consolidatedcommunications.com/cloudsecure to protect your business.
Homewood Suites wants you to feel at home. This upscale extended stay brand understands that being away from home can be challenging. So Homewood Suites in North Fargo has designed their amenities to make life easier for you. At Homewood, you can relax in a variety of suites with full kitchens, complimentary hot breakfast, outdoor grills, and recreational areas that make stays more familiar. When you need to be away, but you still want to feel like home, choose Homewood Suites by Hilton. Find out more and book a stay at HomewoodSuites.com.
We all want to be part of a winning team, right? Hi, this is Marcus with Steamatic, and I am very proud of our team. Industry experts have voted Steamatic the best method of cleaning with our patented steam cleaning process, our 24-hour service, and highly trained technicians. We do it all from carpet cleaning, air duct cleaning, fire and water damage restoration, and remember, Bison fanatics choose Steamatic.
Steamatic, call 232-4707.
Rice Companies understands that strong buildings and strong communities start with strong connections. They know the importance of every bolt, every beam, and every handshake. Every connection must be strong. When you work with Rice Companies, you're building on more than concrete and steel. You're building on knowledge and expertise with people you can trust. People who value your investment as much as you do. Connect with Rice Companies, your local Butler builder, and experience the difference strong connections can make for your business. Learn more and see career opportunities at ricecompanies.com.
At Hanson Runsvold Funeral Home, one of the greatest honors I have is to be invited into the life of a family who has called on us during a time of need. It is such a blessing to be a part of a community that genuinely values a life well lived and the importance of honoring that life. Having been born and raised in Fargo, and now raising my son here, I have a deeper sense of what it means to be an active member of our community. The bonds we shared, the stories we live, make us who we are. Hanson Runsvold, helping families look to the future with hope.
Bourbon lovers are a distinctive group, embracing the differences from other spirits, all while expecting the rich variation of a good whiskey. That's why the Fistful of Bourbon folks, who have over 100 years of whiskey blending experience, are born to serve to those lovers of good bourbon, creating the masterpiece of blending 5 distinct bourbon whiskeys, sweet, balanced, and floral, with notes of cinnamon and licorice and buttery toffee. Fistful of Bourbon delivers a smooth, rich, full-fisted flavor like all top-shelf bourbon whiskeys should. See it all at fistfulofbourbon.com. Please consume Fistful of Bourbon responsibly.
Your brilliant proposal starts with Schmidt's Gems and Fine Jewelry, your source for mined and certified lab-grown diamonds. Looking to create a custom engagement ring? Our team of jewelry experts will help you create that perfect ring, mesmerizing her, creating an heirloom to be cherished for a lifetime. Schmidt's Gems and Fine Jewelry, 3241 42nd Street South, Fargo. Online at schmidtsjewelry.com.
Schmidt's Gems and Fine
Not scary. This haunted house is boring. Dude, chainsaw murderers are so 1980s. This Halloween, nothing is as scary as a leaky roof right before winter. So get your roof redone as soon as possible before it gives you eternal nightmares. Visit FargoRoofing.com to schedule your roof replacement today. By the way, dude, you totally scream like your girl.
Fargo Roofing and Siding.
Here's your Red River Valley weather update on Bison 1660.
Today, sunny and breezy in the Fargo-Moorhead area, a high of 73. Tonight, the clouds will go away, but still a pretty good breeze out there and a low in the low 40s. For weather anytime, go to our website, bison1660.com. This weather update brought to you by FM Truck Sales, your one-stop shop for good, clean, quality used trucks, including over-the-road, dump trucks, farm trucks, and more. FM Truck Sales in Moorhead, check them out for good, clean trucks for any size job. Online, fmtrucksales.net.
If you need any professional advice, they may not be your guys.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
But if you need information on NDSU, then they got you covered. It's the Insiders on Bison 1660.
Miller in the shotgun from the 16-yard line inside the Case IH red zone. Handoff here to Tamarick Williams. Touchdown! Oh, mama, he found the hole and ran it in for a touchdown.
A big-time play by Tamarick Williams. We had a coming-out party of sorts there this season, I should say, there last week against Indiana State. One of our Jim Beam smooth plays of the game. Jim Beam has a bourbon for every palate, whether you want that smooth, classic Kentucky straight bourbon, the tangy new Jim Beam Orange, or the new canned cocktails, classic highball or ginger highball. Jim Beam has you covered. The world's #1 bourbon. Please drink responsibly. And we're here with you live inside the Theraldson Ethanol Broadcast Center. Theraldson Ethanol in Castleton is open for corn receiving now through Saturday for wet and dry corn from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Contact Brad or Doug at Theraldson Ethanol or visit cmgtheraldsonethanol.com for more information. And Theraldson Ethanol produces 175 million gallons of ethanol per year and roughly 400 tons of livestock feed per year as well, just west of Castleton. Sponsors of our great studio, the Theraldson Ethanol Broadcast Center. Andy, Micah, and Rob in here with you. Can I get a little bit of just like sports music? It doesn't be football music, because this is technically more of a basketball segment, because there's some important news. We have preseason polls, ladies and gentlemen. Summit League preseason polls, men's and women's side. It's been done kind of in a different way on the Summit League site on Twitter. They've announced them together, like one at a time, who's 6, 7 on the men's and women's, and they do like a post by post on it. So I'll go from the top. We'll start at 1. On the men's and the women's side, for the 2022-2023 season, preseason polls, #1 on the women's side, no surprise, SDSU women, #1 preseason poll. They should be. Got everybody back. Been great for a long, long time. #1 on the men's side, Oral Roberts. Max Asmus coming back, Player of the Year candidate, obviously. Got some other pieces back from last year, too. Very good team. Offensively, phenomenal defensively. Some ups and downs for them, but a really, really good team. At number 2 on the women's side, USD. Again, no surprise. Don Plitzowite's not there. I know they lost a lot of talent, but that's a program that's won enough where they've earned the benefit of the doubt. Until they look like they're not the same USD team, I'm going to believe they're the same exact USD team. They come in at number 2. On the men's side, number 2, preseason poll, SDSU. No Douglas Wilson, no Baylor Shireman. They bring in Matthew Morris, who's a very talented player from Wisconsin. Originally from South Dakota High School, but played at Wisconsin for the Badgers the last couple of years, and then transferred to SDSU. Very talented player. Might be better than both of the players they left. And some really good players as well throughout that roster. So they come in at number 2. Number 3 on the women's side, Oral Roberts University. Also, some coaching changes, some player changes there at ORUs, a lot of them on the women's side. Number 3 on the men's side. Want to take a guess on this one, Micah? Who do you think is number 3? Men's preseason poll, Summit League.
USD.
Rob?
I saw USD.
It is USD. Coming in, that might have been the NDSU spot, right? Like, that's probably where you're saying NDSU. I know you lost a lot of pieces, but you got Grant Nelson, who's probably a top 5 player in this league. But USD, who is loaded up. AJ Plitzowite's healthy again. They also brought over Paul Bruns from UND. Mason Archambault's still there. Got a bunch of talented players. Cruz Pearl Hunt as well. They're loaded on guards. Got maybe some work to do down low inside, but tons of great guard play. They're going to be really special there, and they come in at number 3 on the preseason poll. Number 4 on the rankings, UND women's basketball, number 4, and NDSU men's basketball coming in at number 4. So that's where they stand on the women's side. I think if I were to go back and look at the voting, there's probably a pretty wide discrepancy after the top 3. UMKC, UND, NDSU. You could make a lot of cases for a lot of teams. Omaha's maybe in there somewhere as well. You could make cases for a lot of the teams on the women's side, but UND comes in at 4. And NDSU, the men, at number 4. Obviously, Grant Nelson, Andrew Morgan. You got 2 behemoths down low who are going to put up some serious numbers this year. Looking forward to those 2. And they got maybe some unprovenness on the outside on the perimeter, but Dave Richmond and company will get that team moving just fine. At number 5 on the women's side, it's NDSU. The Bison coming in at number 5 on the preseason poll. Jory Collins has overhauled that roster a bit. There's some new faces, but Heaven Hamlin's one of the top players on the perimeter in this conference, and she will lead the way for the Bison. Denver comes in at number 5 on the men's side. Number 6, women, UMKC, and men, UMKC. Both come in at number 6. Kind of odd there. At number 7 will be Western Illinois women's basketball and Western Illinois men's basketball, both finishing in the same spot. UMKC and Western very close, very similar there. Some differences, I believe Billy Donlin now gone from there as well, so he won't be back in Fargo. I know fans will really hate to see that, Billy Donlin not back around for UMKC. At number 8, Denver women's hoops and St. Thomas men's basketball at number 8, not in the bottom of the conference. I thought they had a good first year in the Summit League. At number 9, St. Thomas women's basketball, Omaha men's basketball. At number 10, Omaha women's basketball and UND men's basketball. So that's where you stand on the Summit League preseason polls. The men number 4, women number 5 preseason Summit League polls. We'll take a break, our final break of the program. Come back, wrap up the show, react to that when we come back here next on The Insiders on a Tuesday.
North Dakota State football plays here. Bison 1660.
Jeremy here at Horsch in Mapleton. Did you know that Horsch manufactures premier planting, seeding, and tillage solutions right here in the FM area? We are proud to be a family-owned business based out of Germany and would love for you to join our team right here in Mapleton. We offer competitive pay, full benefits, and paid family time from Christmas to New Year's. Please visit Horsch.com to view our current openings.
The Fargo-Moorhead Diversion needs your help to transform our home into a safer and more successful place to live. When you join the ASN Constructors Fargo-Moorhead Area Diversion Channel team, you will take responsibility for creating a safety net for 250,000 people right here at home. Be part of history and the highest profile project in the FM area in years. ASN Constructors need dirt movers, heavy equipment operators, laborers, and construction apprentices. You'll earn great wages and benefits, including 401k. Apply now at asnconstructors.com. FargoRoofing.com.
On the Rocks Craft Cocktails bring natural, refreshing, bar-quality, balanced cocktails to the ready-to-drink category. Natural ingredients, no preservatives. Like the Mai Tai with Carusan Rum, the Margarita with Hornitos Tequila, an Old Fashioned with Knob Creek Bourbon, an Aviation with Larios Gin, or get spicy with a Jalapeno Pineapple Margarita with Tres Generaciones Tequila. Or maybe live it up with the Cosmopolitan with Effin' Vodka. On the Rocks Craft Cocktails. Hard to choose, easy to pour. Please drink responsibly.
If you're looking for a towing company that has graduated to the next level, you're looking for All Pro Towing. All Pro Towing specializes in heavy duty and light duty recovery. All Pro Towing is there for lockouts and jump starts and tire changes. Plus, they're available 24/7 for all emergencies. So when you're looking for a real pro, you need All Pro Towing. Save their number for when you need a tow. 701-541-3900.
The most important aspect of any sport is teamwork. Someone to set up for the perfect play. In the real estate market, Todd Cattermas with Beyond Realty is the perfect teammate. He won't stop until your home is sold or you score big with your dream home. Call Todd Cattermas with Beyond Realty today at 701-371-4234 or visit him at Beyond Realty, 4832 Amber Valley Parkway in Fargo. Todd is a proud partner and the preferred realtor of NDSU Athletics. Todd Cattermas with Beyond Realty, moving the herd one home at a time.
Hey folks, don't let bad credit hold you back from buying a car. Corwin Public Wholesale can help you get financed today. Visit CorwinWholesale.com or stop by their location on 38th Street South in Fargo. Corwin Public Wholesale has helped thousands of people who have bad credit, no credit, bankruptcy, repo, divorce, or late payments. And with their financing power, Corwin Public Wholesale can get you into any vehicle today. They accept all credit applications. Apply today, drive today at Corwin Public Wholesale.
Bison 1660.
That'll do it for the show today. Andy, Rob, Micah, with you. Back with you tomorrow. Someone named Tyler Merriam will join us tomorrow. Looking forward to it. Voice of the Jacks. Marker week. I think tomorrow we start really diving in heavy on this game, this matchup, NDSU, SDSU, marker, expectation. Maybe we go like position by position on it, kind of rank them, where the Bison have a advantage, where maybe the Jacks have a slight advantage. There's probably a couple of those spots for each team in this game.
Surprised to hear that Tucker Kraft may not play?
Yeah, may not play from Tom Neiman. So we'll find out more about that. Ask Tyler Merriam tomorrow. That's what we'll do. Thursday, also Sickies. And your chance to win a stay-and-play package. To watch that game, you can watch that game down at Dakota Nation Sportsbook. You can win a stay-and-play package to Dakota Nation Sportsbook for this Saturday. All you got to do is text the word BET to 701-476-1660. That'll do it for us today. Back with you again tomorrow. Same team, same time, same place. Talk to you tomorrow, 11 to 1 on The Insiders.
I'm Emily. I had my LASIK surgery here at Vance Thompson Vision. Being in the healthcare field, the highest technology is huge for patients. For me, that was the leading choice and why I chose to go with Vance Thompson Vision. Life without